Hello, my friends. How are you doing? Thanks for joining me tonight. I hope we're going to have a good stream. I hope you have a good week. You had a good time this week. Let me pop out the chat real quick so I can see what's going on. There we go. Hi, Eric. Thanks for joining from Vienna. Hi, Jens from Germany. Thanks for joining. Chris from Germany also. Delfert, hi from Colorado. Thanks for joining. Awesome. Okay. So, yeah. How was your week? The challenge is still going on. I think next week we have to do another weekly challenge where we do some editing or stuff like that, and everybody can work on a project again. I think that would be good. Yeah, so, but people have been very busy posting. I still haven't posted my picture from 2 days ago. And I think yesterday I didn't really have time to take a picture. Let me look on Google Photos. Maybe I took some photo. No, well, I took a photo of myself, but I can't post that because it's just a test photo for the camera setting. Maybe I could post that. We can look into that. So I have at least one photo I've posted. Otherwise, I have a day missing. Whew. All right. Where's the chat? There we go. Hi, Ted from NJ. What's that? New Jersey? I don't know what that is. NJ. All right. Okay. Good. So today we are going to look at a little bit in Affinity Photo on how to edit photos and what to do. Also, I want to revisit old packs, specifically the black and white pack and the analog super styles pack. To see on how to easily adjust photos and make them look interesting, stuff like that. Also a little bit about photo composition when you take the pictures. A lot of things to talk about today, specifically around photography and photo editing in Affinity Photo this time, right? Okay, good. Hi, Oakleaf. Is that how you pronounce that, from Sweden? Hi, how are you doing? Thanks for joining. Good. All right. There was something else I wanted to say. I can't remember right now. Oh, yeah. I thought about next week I will do a video that will explain what Nik Collection is, because I think a lot of people don't know. Also, I have upgraded to the version 4. I'm not sure yet what is new. They have some new stuff that is pretty amazing, pretty interesting. We will have a look into that, but not in this live stream right now. Next week I will make a video going through the different plugins of what that is and what kind of benefits it also has, stuff like that. New Jersey. Oh, okay, that's good. Awesome. That was a good guess. Hi, Debbie. How are you doing? From Viral in the UK. Okay, awesome. Is it pronounced viral, like the word viral? That's interesting. Okay, cool. Mario from Germany, hi. By the way, in Germany by way of Texas, USA. So you're right there, just on a visit or something, on a trip. Stefan from Slovakia, hi, how are you doing? Thanks for joining. Milan from the Czech Republic, hi, thanks. And Lindsay from Australia, hi, how are you doing? All right. Awesome. I'm also I'm using Photolab to look at the pictures, but then we are going to edit them in Affinity Photo. One thing I wanted to show you also is, I don't know, maybe some ways of taking photos. I mean, everybody has different ways, but I wanted to show you something that maybe is an idea to make more interesting or more focused pictures, maybe. If I find that. Because I went out to do that and then I forgot about it and just took pictures. And then I thought, oh, I should take some pictures that are not so great, maybe, as a comparison. Anyways, okay. Let me put the chat over in the normal chat box on the right side. Chris says, tested Nik Collections finally, and I think Luminar works better for my kind of artwork, but I really understand that photography people like it so much. Yeah, it's different though. I mean, yeah, Luminar also has some amazing stuff. By the way, there's another Luminar coming out. What is it called? I can't remember. Someone wrote me about that. A friend wrote me about that. Let me check that real quick. While my oh my god, I'm so shiny. That is not good. Do we have something here to wipe my face off? No. Okay. I look like a chicken on the rotisserie. Oh my god. Let me fix this real quick. Wow. Let's put some stuff on here. So I'm not as reflective. I look like an alien. That's terrible. I see myself in the second screen if you're wondering why I'm looking over there and not at myself. Damn. Well, that's what sweat does to you. There we go. And this is why everybody has to wear makeup in studios, so you don't have these reflective lights. Or when you take photos, like portrait shots or stuff like that. It's always a good idea. There we go. That's a little bit better. I look like a person again. All right, good. My channel is not big enough yet, so I have a makeup crew. That would be good. Someone who prepares that stuff and says, hey, buddy, you look like a chicken. Don't do that. What was it called? Someone sent me a link. No, that's not the link. I can't remember. Luminar something. Oh, there's another thing from DxO also. Oh, it's called Luminar Neo, and it's a little bit more like Photoshop, I think. Sorry, like Affinity Photo, because it has layers. The website doesn't really give you that much information. We can actually switch over. Let me see here. Boom, there we go. Okay, so this is the page they have set up for Luminar Neo. And well, they give you the classic previews of stuff you see here. Background replacement, pretty cool. So I guess they have some of their AI stuff in here, because as you can see here, what this is doing, it's replacing the background but also adjusting the colors at the same time. I hope that's AI based on their Luminar technology that they already have, and that's pretty good. There they have some like dust and dirt removal from the picture, so that's pretty good if you have some like problems like dust in your sensor. By the way, today I find out I have dust inside of my lens, which is really... I didn't expect that you can have a lens that's that expensive and still dust gets inside. I thought they are kind of sealed in a way against that, because apparently it's also weather sealed. So I was really surprised to see that. You see they have also this kind of removal, but this is not... You have to do this by hand, because it says here precision with a brush to declutter the scene. So this is something you have to do by hand. But as you can see here, they have different layers and stuff. You see, you can do this kind of, what is it called? Tweening? No, not tweening. It's something else. Parallax motion. You see when the foreground and background, they move in different directions and different speeds. That's called parallax. And parallax is what's happening when you, for example, you drive with a car, you drive with a train, and you look out of the window and you see that the foreground is going really fast and then the background is going really slow by. That is basically parallax. And when you have at the same time, what is even more parallax is, for example, when you film and you have, for example, let's say you kind of go with a car and you have a person, you film that person and the camera stays on the person and goes by like this. The background is going really fast and the foreground is going really fast, but in the other direction, and the person is standing in the middle because you have a rotation motion. And this is what's happening here, right? This is called parallax. All right, let's have a look at the chat real quick. Where do we have that? Maybe have this over here. Yeah, already pre-order because I've got more discount on Luminar Neo. I have to write them. I'm pretty sure they're going to send me a free version again. They are very open with that. That is really good, because some companies, they're like, yeah, just use the demo. Why? It's a code. It doesn't cost you anything. Just send me the code, and then I can, like, if people have questions about that, like half a year later, I can still look into it rather than a demo where I have to, like, 14 days time. Not good, you know. Also, it's not a good impression, you know. But anyways, okay, so they have that. I'm not sure what this is here with the drawing. Share your ideas. But, I was told it's not replacing Affinity. Sorry, what's wrong today? It's not replacing Luminar AI. So this is just a different software. They want to branch out in different areas. And apparently it's kind of affordable too. There was a link before there, pre-order. $34. So that's okay. You save 154? What? How expensive is this going to be? No, wait a second. One seat? No, it's going to be $80. You can see that here. And then $34 is what you pay now. And then you get some free stuff. Oh, you get a course. The course is 109 euros. Oh. Creative photo editing techniques. Okay, interesting. So you get that for free. And then you can also have these things a little bit cheaper. Interesting. Okay, so they bundle it up with some other stuff. Okay, anyways. So this is what's happening. I'm not sure when it's coming out, so I was just told this is a thing. Yeah. All right. Anyways, what were we talking about before? Oh yeah. By the way, before we forget about that, let me switch over here real quick. My online course, like I said, the first 100 places are cheaper. Actually, I can't remember right now. I'm sorry. They are. Oh yeah, $25 instead of $70. So $45 off, and the first 100 places are reduced like that. And there's still like 30 places left, so be quick about that. I will post it in the chat real quick. This is the color grading course that I created for you. It has 28 videos in it and is 140 minutes long. So it's about Affinity Photo. That's also important. Yeah. Good. Sorry. I was a little bit out of the blue, but anyways, I just wanted to mention it. I will probably mention it a couple of times during the streams. Luminar has no sub. Oh no, yeah, you just buy Luminar and then that's it. What you can do with Luminar though is that you can have, they have kind of a subscription thing where you get like presets every month and stuff like that. And I think even like backgrounds and things like that. So that's pretty nice if you want that, but you don't have to because you can create your own presets. There's a couple of presets included that give you a good idea on how to work with the software, and then from there you can come up with your own stuff. All right, let's have a look at, wait a second. First of all, I want to close this and then we can switch over again. Oh, I also have to close this. That's a good idea. And maybe hide my bookmarks. You've already seen that, but anyways. Good, there we go. Let's switch back. Boom. So there we are in Photolab. And I'm just using that to look at the pictures and then we edit them in Affinity Photo. Don't worry, we're not going to edit them in Photolab. But like I said, I want to make a video about what is in a collection, what is included, why is it different from other tools, stuff like that. Yeah. So these are the pictures I took today, and this is from 2 days ago. And yesterday I sadly didn't take any pictures because it was midnight and I was like, oh, I forgot. There was something I was supposed to do, taking pictures. So today I went out to a nice space in Vienna. It's like the how do you say, business university. And they have these nice buildings, like a small like campus district with all of these nice buildings in there. So I took some photos like this, and you can see I always take a lot of pictures from kind of different angles, just to look at that, just to see what you get from that. And I would really suggest you do that too. Sometimes even like here, play around with the perspective, take a wider shot also so you can crop into that later on. Don't worry too much about elements like this, for example. You can edit it out later. Of course, you have it in the reflection still, but just take a couple of pictures, and then often on the screen it looks very different from what it looks in real life, right? I also like these shots that have more of a detail, more about the pattern, stuff like that. But what I actually wanted to show you, and I took this shot way later, is the like a shot that just is an overview. There, you know, stuff like that. So these kind of classic photos. Oh, I have been there, or like this here, where you see the complete building, but you know, you also have this kind of crap in the foreground. Okay. My bot has posted the same thing at the same time. Okay, interesting. Anyways, it's not too much like Affinity Photo, but they give more possibilities. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I have to look into that. So it's probably not as much about photo editing as Affinity Photo is. Yeah, but well, we will see. We will see when they release it. Is more casual. New will be more for the creative stuff. Interesting. Okay. So yeah, you know a lot more about it than I do. So this is just like this overview thing. Let me maybe brighten this up a little bit. Let me see. Whoop, that's too much. Yeah, let's just go like this. Shadows a little bit more. Just so you see something. This is not adjusting anything. It's just so you see a little bit more what's going on in the picture. So this is like this classic, okay, I take a photo of what I see, and the problem with that shot is you don't know where to look. Where is the attention here? And then you cut off some stuff, and you have some things in the foreground that don't belong to the thing that you want to photograph, which is mainly the building here on the right. So it is, of course, good to take an overview shot as to show people this is how the place overall looks like. You can still look for a better perspective or stuff like that. But then you can take some other shots that are more detailed. And also, if you want to take shots, for example, just for social media, you probably want to have a shot that is more attention grabbing and just in one photo. And you don't, it's less about, oh, I have been at that place, documentary style, more about I want to show you some artistic looking creative photo that I've taken, right? And from that, it's a good idea to play around with different angles and different perspectives. For example, a good idea is always these kind of edges that you can photograph, right? So this is not perfect because it's different on both sides, because this, I think if you look at the top on the from the top down at the building, it's like half moon shaped. So this is not like the iron, is it called the Iron Tower, Iron Building in New York, where it's like a triangle like that. So you can see both sides are different, but still it's an interesting look just to stand down there and then look up at that. And you can like just walk around and see what you see through your camera, or maybe through your smartphone. That's also good. Sometimes you want to use your smartphone just as a viewfinder to look through it and see, would that look good? Is that good? Because it's easier and it's not as heavy and it's like just easier. Well, what can I say about that? Yeah, to find the right perspective and then take a photo. And over time, if you do it a lot, you realize there's some things you like to do, some ways you like to photograph, some styles that you enjoy. But still, look at things that, for example, get inspired by other photographers, what they are doing. And there's a lot of things you can do here. So this is more of a detail shot even. And you can even crop into that even more if you want to. Again, sorry, we are right in Photolab, but just to look at the stuff, don't worry. We will switch over. But for example, if you take a detail like this, I still have some stuff up here. 1 second. Let's say like this. We probably should also rotate it a little bit. But for example, like that could also be interesting. It should be a bit more centered and a bit more rotated, but you know what I mean by that. So that could be nice. All right. And, well, what else do we have here? Yeah, side shot like this. So just by taking a lot of photos, you come through a lot of different things you can do. Also, I like these kind of things where you look up at the building and it kind of at the same time looks like a floor, and you have this kind of pattern, but then it's compared to the sky at the same time. I really enjoyed it. You don't really see much of the building in that case, but it's still an interesting photo. And again, you can edit it in a lot of ways. You can crop it in a lot of ways. Yeah, that gives you a lot more possibilities. This is, for example, something where I tried around. I was looking at the grid with the thirds grid, right, that you can show in your display, and then line up the side of the building with the thirds grid and see if that's interesting when you have 1/3 of the picture sky and 2/3 of the picture building, and you have this like as a straight line. Which is different from how the building looks. So you have the cameras rotated, but at the same time you have all these lines coming down, which is interesting. It looks nice, and I feel like it makes the building look rather flat. It looks more like a drawing or a 2D plane with a nice texture on it, rather than a building that is shaped in this kind of round shape. You know what I mean? Symmetry. Yeah, symmetry, right. You can do a lot with that. And with different kinds of concepts, right? The building looks sci-fi. Yeah, it does. Really nice. They have some really nice architectures here. Here's the same thing, but vertically, yes. So yeah, just try out different concepts is another one. Like I said, I like these texture shots, these pattern shots, but you can do any kind of thing you want. This is also nice. Just play around. As you can see, you can make a lot of different looks from just one building, just by trying out, holding your camera in all kinds of ways, taking pictures in all kinds of ways. And if you have a certain purpose with that, for example, in this one, it's not showing the whole picture. It's showing more of different kind of interesting structures that you can get from the photo. So the only thing I'm concerned with when taking this is the texture that I'm seeing in my picture, and if I get an interesting thing happening here in the picture, right? Not that I show the building on its own. So, and that is also maybe a good point to think about if you take a photo. What is the single purpose that you want to show most? Like if there's a ton of things, focus on one thing and say, okay, this is the one thing that I'm interested in, right? For example, if you think about photographing a flower, is it the inside of the flower? Is it the outside? Is it the shape of how the flower sits on the stem? Is it the insect that is sitting on the flower? What is the focus, and how can you put that into a nice picture, into an interesting like view, right? Into an interesting photo. Joanne, okay, to shot the building but not the deputy. Yeah. Flatiron, that's the name, the Flatiron building. I love that building. That's so cool. All right. Okay, the Flatiron building. Yeah, that's true. Okay. So, yeah. And of course, there is a lot of things that don't work out 100% where you want to try stuff. And but still, keep the pictures. I think that's important, and look at them at home and delete them at home, because sometimes you take some photos and they look stupid in your camera, but then, for example, like this is not a great shot. I just was like, well, just take it. Maybe it's nice. Maybe I can crop it afterwards. Maybe it looks good in black and white. Who knows? You know, with these people walking here and the dog, and maybe you can make something of that. So anyways, there's a lot of pictures here, as you can see, that I've taken today. Oh, this is also nice. I like this kind of minimalism and abstraction in photography, where it's more about the structure and the building becomes kind of a sculpture. So this is actually the same building. Wait a second. Where's this overview shot again? I should have really taken that at the beginning. That is not great that I have to scroll around here. Oh, there it is. This one. So this is actually the building that you have seen just now. So they have this kind of stuff here sticking out on top. I think it's a tennis court or something for sports. I don't think it's a bar or things. I tried to photograph it from that side, but there's a very strange thing about that building. If you look at that, you have this box up here, and then you have this down here, this little cutout. And I thought, oh, that would be a good photographing upwards to see that. But if you can see that, there is no symmetry between them. They are not lined up. And so when you take the photo from here upwards, it looks really strange. It looks kind of stupid. I don't know why they decided to do that. It's very strange. I think it would look so much better if this and that thing were lined up and in symmetry with each other, you know? But anyways, so this building, again, this building here is the same as this photo here. Whoops. Oh, there we go. You see the thing sticking out, and actually the front is on an angle. It's not straight. It's a little bit leaning backwards, right? And so in this case, everything becomes kind of a structure and also fits together. So that's pretty interesting. It's pretty nice. Thank you for the color grading course. Thank you very much too that you got that and enjoyed that. Yeah. By the way, I still want to send out a survey. I will wait a little bit longer so people can finish the course and look through it and stuff like that. And then I want to send out a survey to everybody who got the course to see what kind of other things they would have expected, or what could I improve, or what did they like specifically about that, right? So I can make it better next time. And I think maybe courses are a good idea instead of these packs that I do, or we can alternate that where I make once I make a pack, once I make a course, stuff like that, because there's a lot of potential for that. And I was also buying other courses from other people for different kind of things, for photo editing. And what stood out for me, because I was always afraid with the courses. Well, let me switch over here real quick. A little bit, the Uncle Olivio is telling you a story. So what I was afraid of, and this is why I didn't make many courses so far, is that I always thought what I explain is too simple. And I don't want people spend money on things that are too simple and too obvious. But the thing is, they are only simple and obvious to me because I have done them a lot, but not to people who heard for the first time. And this is also the experience I had with the courses I bought, where you have these amazing artists and they show you what they're doing, but then the thing that they are doing, the techniques they are using are simple, but the way they are using it and the connection to the subject makes it interesting, where you think, I didn't think you can use it in that way. Or I didn't think you would use that tool in that occasion, right? So that makes it interesting, even though it is a tool that everybody knows. Like, I was like, everybody knows the curve tool. Should I really talk about that? Should I really explain that? But at the same time, how often do you use a curve tool for color grading, right? You would probably try around other things like HSL or stuff like that, which is also nice, but curves can be used too. So stuff like that, right? Okay, anyways, let's go back here to the view, and then we should switch over to Affinity Photo. Got holes in it because of the background. Oh yes, it does. Is there some green stuff on here? I guess, right? It has some holes. Yeah, everything that's green. Do I have anything green here? Not really, because if I put it up, then I vanish behind that. Okay, anyways. What did we talk about? I forgot. Randomness will not have, but without randomness you will not have happy accidents. Yes, absolutely. Happy accidents are really good. That's always a good thing. Just try around. I tried around a lot today. Where were we talking about? 1 second. Let's go back here. Oh yeah, for example, I went. This is a different building, by the way. This is not the same building, but I went in there. This is much smaller, and it's also rounder and stuff like that. And then I saw these reflections, as you can see here when you look. So there is two of these half-round buildings standing next to each other and giving like a whole circle with some free an opening between the buildings where you can go into it. So there's two separate buildings, but they reflect each other, and they also, of course, this is the top side of the other building here, you see? And because you have these individual windows, every window is reflecting the top of the other building in a different angle. So you can see how this goes dun dun dun, and it's nice. It's like a little like wings or something, you see, like this. So I think you can bring this out really nicely when you edit it, for example, with contrast, stuff like that, to make it more obvious that you have this nice, interesting reflection in here. This one here, sadly, is very low. It would be nice if they would be like you know, following the shape a little bit closer, but the same shape, I mean. But anyways, that's pretty cool. Then I also experimented around with, oh, there's no, there's not another one. Having some stuff in front of the photo, which is also nice. I'm not sure if I was super lucky with that, because there wasn't too much that was on the level of my hand. That with the tree, that didn't work at all here. You see, you have this tree. It's nicely cut here on the lower part. Looks like a haircut, but that didn't work out too well. But this one is nice, you see? So this, when you look, no, you can't actually see the building here. Is it not on any photo here? Let me check that real quick. Maybe here. No, I think it's more to the right. But you have these trees with the needles. I can't remember the name right now. Anyways. And I just put them in front next to the camera, and you can actually get an interesting look from that. Why is this switching over? Oh, sorry. This is the view I want to have. And you can see, like, just like that, you can have some interesting shots if you want to. You can rotate this in different ways. Maybe this is better. And I think this is even more pronounced when you, for example, put a vignette on that and change the colors or make it black and white, stuff like that. We can actually edit that a little bit if we want to. I just wanted to look at the other pictures first. 1 second. Oh, there's also this other building. I tried it here again, but this worked worse, I think. This wasn't too great. But this, again, this could be interesting in black and white, for example. And then I'm really thinking about getting an external monitor for my camera, because on the Sony you can't bend it sideways, you can't rotate the screen. So with these photos, and these are happy accidents, I couldn't see the screen at all because the camera was too low and there was a lot of reflection from the sun. So I couldn't see what I photographed. It just took the pictures. And it still turned out really interesting. I really like this kind of grass in front, where the building in the background that you want to photograph is actually blurred. And you have the grass that is sharp in some areas. And I really like that you have it only sharp, like some strands, and the rest is even more blurred in the front, that you have these layers. And at the same time see the architecture in the background. That is really cool. I really enjoy that. So that... I should do that more often, where the subject that I actually want to photograph is blurred in the picture, because that looks really cool, I think. I'm more particle than randomness. What? Wait, I think I'm missing the chat here. Let's have a look at the chat real quick. Whoa, what's gonna say it here? Thank you for tutorials, live streams, and videos. You're welcome, Monty. Absolutely. Thank you for joining. Pavel says exactly therefore, I bought your course after watching Aaron Rudnick or Chuana Kustra. Oh, I don't know them. I have to check that out, what they're doing. It depends on your photographic style. Everyone has different. Yes, absolutely. Everyone photographs is different. So this is just what I photograph, what I'm doing. Of course, you can do it differently. But what I'm saying is, always think about what kind of thing do you want to photograph, and think about the way how to frame that and how to bring that out in the picture rather than just taking a picture. And this, by the way, should we look at the pictures that you have taken? Maybe we should do that in comparison, right? And then we start the editing process. So let's have a look here. This is from the 12th. This is from today, actually. We can look here. And there's a lot of cool pictures in here, but there's often stuff like, for example, a landscape like this is really, for me, it's not easy to photograph that. And I find in general, it's kind of hard to take a photo because there's just so much that at the same time is focused on what you want to show and shows the landscape. I find it pretty difficult. Or stuff like this. This is a good example here, where I know what you want to do. You have the lake, and I'm sure this looks really cool when you look at it with your eyes and you stand there and you have the whole atmosphere and everything. But as a photo, it's just not like, the experience doesn't carry over, right? even though you see everything that is there that you would think makes the scene interesting, it's just not like I think if you, for example, would photograph this with the camera closer to the water, you should have these nice waves, something like that, because the background, the landscape in the background is kind of, you know what I mean. I don't want to say anything negative. I'm sorry. It's not that interesting to look at. You know what I mean? I don't take this in a bad way if I say that. But you know, it's, well, actually we can actually look at Unsplash if we see some interesting photos. Like, let's say lake here. If we see something as a comparison, that would be maybe similar to that. Yeah, this, for example, you see, if you have this as a comparison, you have a little bit more stuff in the foreground. It's a little bit more about this kind of grass here in the foreground than the background, but at the same time, there is stuff like just more interesting stuff to look at, and it's kind of an interesting composition. And like I said, this is really amazing when you look at it with your eyes, but for the camera, it's difficult to have this as a picture. So maybe play around with different perspectives. And this is, like I said, with my own pictures, if you look at that, I took a ton of photos of the same subject just to figure out what would look good. So if you take 50 photos of one scene and one photo is good, that's good. Don't worry about that. Even if you take 80 or 100 photos and one is good, that's still okay, right? You see the same thing with the best photographers around the world. They take hundreds of pictures on these photo shootings, and then they select one picture for their, what, I don't know, ad campaign or their artistic work, stuff like that. By the way, I was part of an artistic photo shoot at the weekend, and of course with a photographer, and she also took, she actually photographed with an analog camera, and still she took like 50 photos, right, from that one scene, from just like different settings and things like that, right? So don't worry about that. Just take a ton of photos and try to see what works for you, right? Okay, let's have some look at some other pictures here. Again, like here, for example, interesting subject. I think this is, I'm actually not sure what that is. Is this a larva from for a butterfly, or is it a fruit? I'm not exactly sure. Oh, does it say something? All ends are also beginnings. Mitch, I guess this is a cocoon for a butterfly. But you see, if you have this a little bit more on angles instead of just on head on, it might, I mean, it's the interesting thing is you have this kind of pattern in the background. So you maybe, for example, in black and white, this could be really interesting if you edit that. We could actually edit that a little bit. Or you take it at it's an angle and you see a little bit more an interesting, more dynamic perspective. This is what you can do. Also, it has these kind of hairs coming out here. So maybe if this would be in front, so you see a more close-up of that, that could be nice. Yeah, so there's lots of different ways to do that, right? Let's copy this over real quick. By the way, I want to show you today two things that I've created in the past. And one is called Black and White Super Styles, and the other one is called Analog Dreams Pack. So I thought while we're editing in Affinity Photo, I want to show you these packs at the same time. I've done these in the past, and they are really good, and they are really nice access to photographing easier. Sorry, not photographing easier, editing your pictures a little bit easier by giving you some ideas. By the way, they're also very inspired by the Nick collection on what they did there. I was like, wow, that's really, really cool. How can we do something as inspiring in Affinity Photo? Of course, different, but inspired by, for example, the different black and white styles. So this is what that is. And the way this works, let me show this real quick. You have these layers here. So this is just one Affinity Photo file. And then you have all these black and white styles that I created for you with gradient maps in here. And then you have different kinds of vignette setups here and contrast styles and different blur styles in here. So this is really, how can I say, what is the English word? Well, let me see. No, that's the wrong word. immense. That sounds a little bit full. No, that's not the right word. Like complete, comprehensive. There's a list of words here. None of them sound like what I want to say. Anyways, it has a lot to offer. Let's say it like this. Okay, anyways. So what you do is you put it just on the lower level here, basically the lowest layer. You put your image here. This is actually very small right now, but let's just resize it and maybe also rotate that to the side. Or actually we can rotate the whole document. Rotate it clockwise. There we go. Okay. So now the way this is supposed to be used is, first of all, you tune your black and white. So you enter this here, you open this up and get, of course, your window here. And the reason why I did that you need to do that is because every picture is different. Every picture has different colors in there and different kinds of a setup, and you have to look for yourself what you want to pronounce, what you want to hide in the image, right? And so you have to do these adjustments. You can see how much the picture changes, but just by adjusting the red value here, you get a completely different picture. So this is why you start with that step and set it up in a way that looks like what you want to have here. Let's make this a little bit darker. I think that's okay. And then maybe I think I will rotate this back so we just see more of the picture. It's very blurry though. Anyways. Okay, so and this I was playing around with this today and I was really amazed because I have done this some time back. By the way, I should also show you the link for that. Wait a second. There's also a free version, by the way, as always. Boom. Where you have some of them in there. I like just a taste of these kind of different layers. Not everything is in there. But the way to use this is here you have some other setups, for example, a vignette. So you have to turn this on. And this is a little bit too much right now. So you want to turn these off. And these are some other basic adjustments. This is why I said start here by tuning black and white. Then you do some basic adjustments. For example, if you want to add a vignette. I love vignettes, as you know, so I always add them a little bit. But you can go in here for the settings. I made a basic setup for you, but you can change that. You see, like this is more like this kind of center heavy, low, how can I say, high contrast picture, black and white look. There's also a little bit of curve adjustment in here if you want to use that. But again, you can readjust it to your own taste. So that's important that you do that because now you have all these black and white styles here. And you can see I have created them for different purposes of what black and white photography has been through. Can you say the centuries? Is it that old? Over time, like since the beginning of photography, right? So you have, for example, different cyanotypes, which is kind of a very blue black and white style. Then you have, what do we also have? 1920 sepia, 1900 sepia, Rupak sepia, which is one of my followers from my community. She's called Rupak, and I saw this post that she made in my community, and I thought, hey, that's a cool style. Can I use that? And she said yes. So now it's called Rupak sepia. So let's just turn on some of these styles. You see, for example, this one is very like orange and sepia at the same time. Really cool look. Maybe not for this picture, but it's really nice with other pictures. Let's see here. You have modern soft gray. Actually, for this picture, because it's so blurry, you have a blue gray in here. I think I will take another picture than this. This is too blurry. It doesn't look good. Anyways. Let's take another picture here. This is not good. This makes no, it's too blurry. Let's delete this folder here. And let's take one of my pictures here. Should we take this picture here? But it's also blurry, right? Let's take another one. Let's see. I want to have something with different values in here. This could be nice. This could be nice. This is not good. Oh, this is another one of these shots where I just took a photo of nothing. You see? So you see the building, but it doesn't really give you... Oh, I'm always posting when my chatbot is also posting. Anyways. Oh, thank you very much, Monty. So you bought them back then when they came out? I'm really amazed. I played around with that. And I like it sounds a little bit like over the top, but how can I say, I was super impressed by that, you know, that the fact that I'm not making hundreds of thousands with these packs is crazy, because they are really good, especially compared with other packs that I've seen out there. Mine are so thoughtful, and there's so much like creativity going into them and so much purpose, while you have other packs out there that just like create a bunch of stupid overlays that are not really actually that good, and you can use them in some ways, but like it's not that interesting. And I was really impressed with the variety of things you can do with that. Anyway, so this is just like one of these shots that just shows you what is going on, just like a shot of, yeah, I've been there, not really interesting. Compared to this is another like example of that. And then what the stream is today about is to try to photograph things in a more interesting way. And this, like for example, it shows you less about the building, but as a photo it's more interesting. This is something we look at and it's like, okay, interesting, and you want to think about that for a little bit, right? So that's the main focus today. Let's have a look here. Should we edit one of these photos here maybe? This has too much structure in it. Oh, this is from the other one. I can show you that later, but it's just getting a little bit too much maybe. Should we take one of these? Let's take this one. Let's export this here. Boom. Original size, yes please. Okay, this is exporting right now. Boop, there we go. Okay, so now we can place this in here. File, and then place, and then, oh, I already played around with that. So I chose exactly the same picture again. Is this the original size? Yes, it is. Okay, cool. Let's take this, put it in here. Good. So, like I said, and of course, I will show you the adjustments too. So this is, even if you don't have the pack, it's still valuable to watch the stream. And this is like all Affinity photo now. So first of all, we have this, we have to drag this down to the lowest level. Not the lowest level because there's the text, but just above the text here. And then you make these adjustments for black and white. As you can see here, this is just where you tune in the colors. As you can see here, for example, if I play around with the green colors, I can make, for example, these trees back here that have this green color, I can make them darker or brighter. And so in that sense, make them more or less visible in the picture. And I would always suggest to play around with all the sliders, because as you can see here, in the areas where you think it's green, it's actually yellow. So when you look at the original picture, you can see these values down here. They have a lot of value, so they have a lot of yellow in them, even though it looks green to our eyes. Let's see, let's turn this on again. There we go. Let's make this a little bit darker, maybe like so. And then the red, let's go like this. What's with the, yeah, the sky a little bit darker. We can actually leave it like that. This is also a little bit darker like so. That's okay. Yeah, we can leave it like that. Good. So I have already turned on the vignette. So this is without vignette. You can go any way you want. Maybe put this in here. And then let's see if we can make everything here a little bit shorter. No, no, no. Let's go like this. Okay, now we have a lot of space. Good. Can you see everything? Yes, I think. Yes, you can. Okay, good. Black and white. Contrast is important for black and white photo editing. Yes, absolutely. You can do a lot with contrast, but you can go both sides. You can make it very soft, and you can make it like high contrast. So it doesn't have to be super high contrast. You can see that here, for example, I set up this curve adjustment here, and you can see that this is actually taking out some of the contrast. You see? So this is a basic adjustment I made that you can use, but you can also adjust it in your own way. And as you can see, this also makes the picture brighter. So what you want to maybe do here is to take this middle button here, this middle handle, and just drag down the middle values, so to bring it a little bit back. But you can see, because this is up here, all of the black values are gray now, and all of the white values are rather gray also, with a bright gray. So this looks white to the eye, but it's not actually white. If you sample that as a color, let me sample this real quick. You can see from the value that this is not complete white. It's a little bit lower. It's a very bright gray, which is important because white can't take on color, but gray can take on color. So this is pretty important to keep in mind. If you want to recolor something, white and black often don't take that on. And this is important when we do the color grading here. For example, like this here, you can see this is taking on that kind of tone. But if I would have the curve up here, like so, apparently this is completely, is this completely white? Oh no, I tricked myself here. Okay, let's have a look at the color grading. Yeah, so this is a different point here. When I use a gradient map, I can set the white color as another color. This is why this right now worked in that way. Sorry. If I would set this over, for example, to soft light, this is a better example here. You can see that this takes on this kind of blue look right now. But if I go in here to the curve and I push this up here and it's completely white, like so, then this should be completely white right now. We can test this again. 1 second. It's not completely white. Okay. Well, that's the live effect. It should be completely white anyways. Okay. What were we talking about? Oh, yes. The different styles here. So I had these art styles here. They are probably not in the taste of most people, but you can adjust the opacity here. And then when this is always important when you use my packs, for example, or when you do adjustments in general in Affinity Photo. When you have opacity on 100%, most of the time it's too extreme. Often I do it too extreme, more than it should be, because then you have more range on how to apply it to the picture, right? So that could be really interesting. And you can see if I reduce that, you still have this kind of effect of this kind of artistic style, but at the same time, it looks more sensible now, right? But the art style is too goofy maybe anyways. But here you have different, for example, a soft gray style. As you can see, let's make this a little bit bigger so you have a better view with that. Let's have this. So you see, this is just a black and white, of course, with the curve applied to that. So this basically is just black and white, and we have the curve applied. And then we have this kind of modern soft gray style. And this is simulating how classic black and white photos are looking. So I looked at different periods on how artists have taken their photos, how they have edited their photos. And this is simulating these kind of styles with this kind of softer gray look. And this is more of a blue-gray look. And like I said, this is done with color grades. So you can see here, and these, by the way, this is also what I did, is sampling the color from the actual pictures. So this is not just any kind of a tone. This is what these classic photos of the artists actually use, which is also very nice to have this kind of exact reference, basically, right? Which is also a good idea. If you want to do that, you can do it in a similar way. You could look for different photos online. Maybe try to find photos that have more original values in there. But let's go here, for example, classic black and white photography. And you can see some examples here. And you can, for example, sample some of these tones here. For example, when you look at these two pictures here, that's maybe a good example. You can see this is another black and white than this is. You see, this has a little bit of a tone in here, especially in that part here. I'm not actually sure if this is a really... No, this is probably a modern photo from a color photo. But you can see that this has a bit of tone in here, and this is just black and white, right? And it's also a soft black and white. It's not too hard from the gray tones, because the gray tones also can have different qualities. So this is when you edit the pictures. This is also a good idea. Look at what other people are doing. Here's another example. Here's another example. So when you look at that, for example, you can see this has a little bit of a blue tint in here from the black and white. By the way, I also have this in here. This is the blue gray. It's not the same blue gray as in this other photo here. But you can see, so this has more of a blue tint, and this has more of this kind of, would you say it's a sepia tint? I'm not sure if this is sepia. Maybe it's a hint of sepia in there. So not gray is not just gray. Black and white is not just gray, right? So this is important to keep in mind when you edit your pictures. And from that, you can have a lot of very interesting things you can do with your photos if you think about that. There's another example here. You see, 2 different pictures. If it loads, there we have it. You see, this is more gray. You have a nice vignette around that, a little bit uneven vignette also, and this has more of this kind of sepia look, right? And this is well, it might be simulated here, but through the different periods and through the different styles and fashions and also materials they had, you just get these kind of different styles. Let's go back here to Affinity Photo, and this is what I wanted to have created here. For example, you have here, you see this kind of style. And you probably want to make the picture look a little bit worse in that case, or adjust the values a little bit more with the curves to get this more kind of classic look in here. So you can play around with that. And by the way, one thing I'm really proud about in this pack is I made this, which is luminance noise. And when you look at that, let's leave it like that. Let's zoom in here. You can see that this noise is only applied in the areas where it's getting darker. You see? The darker the picture gets, the more this is applied. You see, the noise is not here, but it's over here down in these shadow areas. I like that a lot. And you also see here, like where it's brighter on the windows, there's not too much noise. And then here, the darker it gets in the shadows, there's more noise. So this is also part of that, that pack that I've created. And that is really cool, I have to say. And I think you can you adjust the noise? Yes, you can. You see, so this is a texture. And by resizing the texture, when I make this smaller here, like so, you can see that now the noise is finer than before. You see? Because this is a noise texture that I created. See that? How that moves? And the bigger you make it, the bigger the noise gets, of course. And you can make it even smaller if you want to. Like you could, for example, rotate that like this, and then put this over here, and then just make a copy and put the next one over here, so it just lines up, so you don't have a split between that, and then the noise is even smaller. Really nice, really cool. All right. Okay. Anyway, so you can do a lot of things in Affinity Photo with these gradients. This is a different gradient. This is cyanotype. I want to show you that. 1 second. So this or this here, I made different kind of designs. They look kind of different, but when you look specifically at what they are doing, they're actually doing different things. So this is one of them, and you can see here, this is blue and white, but this one is blue and has this kind of sepia tone in here. And then we have a third one, and this is blue with another shade of blue. And when you look at it, cyanotype is a specific way of black and white photography. Cyanotype photography. So this is also kind of a little bit of a artistic lesson in the pack too. Of what photography can be. And as you can see, when you apply that to different kind of photos like this one with the landscape, you can do really cool things with that, right? So it really depends on what kind of photos. This is also very nice here. So there is a lot of black and white stuff, a lot of black and white styles out there. I think a lot of people didn't even realize that black and white photography can be all of these things. All right. Okay. Sorry, I'm taken away by my own pack here. I'm having so much fun with this. Yeah, there's always different kind of sepia styles here. Ah, nice. And oh, we have also the vignette styles. We haven't even looked at half of the pack yet. Should we do something else? Maybe I don't want to bore you with my impressiveness of my own thing. Okay, and this is a different vignette than the vignette before, because this is a mask vignette. As you can see here, it has this shape. So this is just painted in as a mask. Let me show you the mask. Why doesn't this work? 1 second. No. Oh, I have to make it visible maybe. Why doesn't this work? Usually when you click this, you see the mask, but this doesn't show the mask. Maybe because there's no picture in here. I mean, you can see from the preview that this is a painted mask, and you can just paint this in a different shape. So this is why I created that. So you can just like repaint this in any kind of way. By the way, another thing that I forgot about, in the pack there's also an online course included where I show you how to use the pack and all these kind of different elements and explain what they are doing, so you're not like just thrown into this kind of complexity here, but actually get a lot of information about how to use that. What is the chat saying? Colder or warmer style and black and white photos are also nice. We like color theory too. It's a bit dry. Well, like color theory. Oh, it's a bit too dry? Well, the black and white stuff right now. Okay, I will finish that. We will look at another thing here with the photo editing. Just let me show you this one, the glow thing. This is also, and this is something that's very important for black and white photos too. Look at that, how much you can change a picture by applying glow like this. And this, I will also show you the trick that I'm doing here is you have Gaussian blur, and then you set the Gaussian blur to soft light, and this is what creates this glow. And look how this changes the look from the picture. So this is the basically normal picture here, and this is with the glow. See how all the values change? Also because the values are applied, if you have a gradient map, they are applied to what is bright and what is dark, and what is shadow and what is light. And when you make everything softer, it has this kind of soft painterly style, and the shadows, they become a little bit smeared, and everything becomes this kind of dreamy quality. So you see how much this changes and how much this becomes a completely different picture. Wow, really impressive. I like how much with very simple things. This is a very simple trick. A little bit of Gaussian blur with soft light, and you have a really cool picture afterwards. Okay, anyways. Other find it interesting. I'm not the only one here. No, that's okay. Don't worry about that. I think black and white. Let's go back to colors here. And this is, by the way, well, let me open up the picture just like it is, like this. Okay. I wanted to show you another thing also. Should I talk about the second pack? I'm kind of feeling bad about talking about the second pack right now. But this is called the Unlocked Dreams pack. I want to show you this because we wanted to talk about how to make things more interesting in Affinity Photo. And this is something I have created for Affinity Photo. You can do the same thing if you want to. So it's this one. And this is mainly overlays. But the cool thing about that, for example, you have these discolors here. These are overlays. It just looks like this. And you can see this is different discolorations, and you have a little bit of hair and scratches in here also. And you can just put this in here on your photo, like so. And again, there's an online course with that, like I have for most of my packs actually. You put this over the picture like so. You can see this has a very high resolution too, so you can move it around if you want to. And then you simply set it to soft light, like this. And just because of that, you can see you have these discolorations now in your photo, like so. And of course, right now, well, this doesn't like it's not super impressive. The reason for that is because you want to do some adjustments. So what I want to suggest to you is when you do if you want to make your picture look more interesting, always start by applying curves first and try to figure out what you want to have as a look. Let's go here with curves, and not for the color adjustment, just to make it a little bit softer. So for example, let's make some spots here to lock that down. And then you bring the white values a little bit down like so, and the black values a little bit up like so. And this makes everything in the picture already softer. Like you can't see too much right now, but let's bring this down a little bit more like so. You see, if you look at the values now from the picture, what is happening right now? 1 second. Set this to 100%. Okay, that's 100%. Good. Let me see. So this is before and this is after. And you can see how, for example, these values here, they have become a little bit softer. And these other values in the shadows down here, they also have become a little bit softer. So this can be a very nice way to do that. And then you can play around with these overlays, for example, like so. And you can also play around with different blend modes here. Well, that's not exactly the blend mode. Let's go to multiply. No, I think actually soft light here makes the most sense. But we can try and have another one. By the way, you can ask me things in the hi Jean-Paul from Belgium. How are you doing? You can also ask me things if you want to. Wrong layer? What do you mean wrong layer? Which is the wrong layer? Let's delete this real quick here. Let's maybe go with one of those here. There we go. So we can also make this a little bit softer, like so. And this is mainly focused on creating different kind of analog looks for your picture. You can also resize that and have this kind of discolorations here when the pictures degrade over time, right? Pavel, maybe you posted a link or something because it removed the message. I can't even see it. Sorry for that. Oh, retracted. I see. Okay, I'm not sure. Interesting. Let me have a look here. Wait a second. Now we have also light leaks. Should we talk about? Oh, and we have also created LUTs. Wow. Hey man, I I'm sorry. I'm always creating so much stuff for my packs because I always think, hey, maybe we should do some more. Maybe we should do some more. Let's have a LUT here. Have a look at that. Oh, okay. So we have some like analog discolorations here. Pretty awesome. Okay, cool. Let's look through them. Okay. That's actually pretty nice. Wow. Okay. These are also inspired. Like if you have these packs that I create, like the black and white pack, like the analog pack, they are always inspired by actual photos from that period. So I look at the discolorations, the degradation you get over time from the colors, how they would change, and then try to apply that, for example, in a LUT or with these overlays or with other things, with the scratches, stuff like that. So you get looks that are close to that, which is really interesting. It's not just willy-nilly, just some stupid settings that I'm doing. I'm actually looking at the periods of the time and how the pictures change. Of course, it's also depending on the photos you have, you see. And you know from the classic pictures, when you take them, or if you look at old photos, they have these colorations, discolorations that often go into like this green, for example. They go into a sort of violet. They can go into a yellow tone. So there are specific ways they discolor because of how the chemicals work in the picture and how because they don't stop working just because you develop the photo, right? This is the degradation. And this happens even to pictures over time when you have them in the shadow somewhere in a room and it's not in the sun. So it's not that the sun is sucking out the color of the picture. Also the chemical process is going on. So you can have a picture inside of a book, inside of a photo book, and still it's degrading over time because of the processes that still basically develop the photo slowly over the years and make these colors degrade. So there's a lot of different interesting looks in here. Let's go maybe with this kind of, what was that at the beginning? This one here. That looks nice and classic. And now we can have these kind of overlays too on that. So these are LUTs. That's, well, I can't really explain that. But the overlays and stuff like that, that's rather easy. You also have paper styles here. It is so crazy, the stuff that I'm doing. Look at that. You have different kind of paper textures here that you can use. Classic photo paper textures here that you can see it's not the same paper. So this is a different paper style than this paper here that you can use on your photos. Also colored paper here. Wow, that's crazy. Let's take maybe this gray paper here. Is that a good idea? Let's take that. Put that on here like so. And then again, you simply, I think in this case, multiply. Make it a little bit smaller. This seems to be a bit big here. Let's see. Let's try other blend modes here. I think multiply is actually the best one, and then let's just make it a little bit softer. Let's go like this, and so you actually have a bit of a paper look. And if the texture is too strong, again, you can just make it smaller like this and then copy it over. And so now you have two of them, and it's a bit smaller. Wow. Okay, cool. The paper overlays, I actually created them with Filter Forge. I built my own, let's not say I built my own filters. I looked for filters online for Filter Forge, and then I adapted them to my purpose and changed that in the ways that I need them. So you can go into the structure of each filter from that Filter Forge software and just, well, completely redesign how that filter works for the picture. And this is also how I created a lot of the other things, like these discoloration here, for example, is in the same thing. Also these spots here, this is also created with Filter Forge. Look at that. That was really cool, huh? So you can also apply this to the picture, another form of degradation. So you can say, okay, I want to have a bit of a spot here. Let's take this over here. Again, let's say, let's see. Yeah, let's maybe use it with overlay. And you can see just like that, I can have a little bit of like this kind of spot in the picture. It's maybe not ideal for this picture here, or we can also make it smaller. Whoops. There we go. But you can have that in here. And you can also recolor that. That's a nice thing. So the easy way to recolor that is just use a recolor adjustment and push it onto that layer here. And then you can adjust the color of that spot, which right now also, wait a second. I'm doing this wrong. This was a time ago, so I can't 100% remember. Negation? No. Okay, that was... I thought that's a little bit easier than it is. No. I can't remember right now, but you can actually, you can adjust the color from that. I think I put that in the video that I created for that. Let's see. We also have cracks in here. You can't see them. Or maybe, yeah, there we go. You have cracks that you can also put on the picture. This, by the way, this is why I selected these two to show it today to you today, is that this is also very good with the black and white pack. So if you use both of them, they actually work very well together. So if you put this in here, you can see you have these cracks, and you can just use it like this, lighten or screen, whatever you want, add. You see they give a little bit of a different effect depending on how you blend them. And then if this is a little bit too much, for example, you can simply reduce that a little bit and have it like these scratches not as extreme, not as pronounced in here. And also, of course, resize them if you want to have them smaller. It's pretty awesome. And you can, of course, use a mask if you say, hey, I want to have them just in an area of the picture, not everywhere. Just put a mask on that like so, and then paint them out. Let's make this bigger. Oh, man, I have so much things I want to show you today. We just don't have the time. You see, I'm just painting this out with my brush. And so now it's just like down here and a little bit over here. I totally forgot I wanted to talk more about this control box that I showed you. By the way, is this interesting to you? God, sorry, I have too much cables here. Let me switch real quick. This thing here. Is that interesting to you if I make more gear reviews like that? Maybe combine them with a tutorial so it's not taking up any kind of specific spot on my channel, but just once in a while. Where's a good light? There's a good light. Once in a while, show you some cool gear that you can use. There we go. That's maybe good. I really like this thing. Like I said in my video, the price could be a little bit lower, but I really enjoy using that. And what I mainly use it for is like these settings here, specifically here for the brush and for the rotation of the canvas and zooming and stuff like that, is really nice, especially when you use a pen display, because having the keyboard on your lap is so cumbersome. It's not nice. It doesn't feel good. And with this, you have all the keys you need when you do retouching of your pictures or digital painting or stuff like that. That's really cool. So you can see with these, when I move my wheel, I can just zoom in and out wherever I need to be. And then with the other wheel, I can readjust the size of my brush. You see? Like just make it a little bit smaller, a little bit bigger. And this is without having to look anywhere, without having to go up here and readjust it, and without having to push this kind of crazy combination and then moving the mouse. What was it again? Control and Alt? Yeah. And then you move the mouse. You click and you move the mouse. And I'm always unsure how to move the mouse to... I mean, it does size and softness and hardness at the same time, but it feels really, really weird to use that. And it's so easy to get it wrong, to make the hardness and then change the size at the same time. And with this, you only have this thing and you just apply it in the way you want. Which I find especially useful in Affinity Photo. Sorry that we have a complete topic change right now. I find it specifically useful in Affinity Photo because Affinity Photo does not change the brush size depending on your zoom size. And you might be surprised about what I mean by that. What are you talking about? When you go, for example, in PhotoLab from DxO, and you use this patch brush here for repair, you can see when I zoom into the picture, the brush stays the same size, but is a different size relative to the picture. And that is really important because this means I don't have to adjust the brush size. You see, when I want to fix something big, I zoom out and I fix a bigger detail. And when I have a smaller detail, which usually I need a smaller brush for, I only zoom in. The brush stays the same size, but now I can adjust a small detail. As you can see here with this small dot, I can just adjust this. You see how small it is? And I zoom out, and this basically takes this complete part here because relatively the brush stays the same size. But in Affinity Photo, it doesn't. So if I zoom into my picture, the brush stays the same and it becomes accordingly bigger on your screen. So when you want to adjust smaller details, as you do when you zoom in, you always have to readjust the brush. And here you can do it just with your fingertips. I can do this on the fly and I can do this on the fly. So that is very, very nice. And of course, as you know, the zoom is always going where where you point your mouse, you see, like this. So that's very, very cool. Anyways. All right. Sorry, I feel like we're going a little bit all over the place because I think I took too many topics on for today to talk about. I'm sorry about that. Toolbox is a bit more expensive for me. Yes, it is. Right. Because I'm just saving for a camera. That's always good, yes. By the way, think about the glass. Think first about the lens you want to have and then about the camera, because the lens is so much more important than the camera. Just like wanted to throw that out there. So don't like spend a ton of money on a camera and then have a cheap lens. Rather go the other way around, spend a ton of money on a good lens and then have a cheap camera with that. That gives you much better pictures. Wow, let me take a sip here. Yeah, that's cool, right? That is really interesting, like how different software tools do things in a completely different way, and then they have these small benefits, right? Okay, anyways, so you can do a ton of things in Affinity Photo with overlays, and often they save also a lot of time. Instead of like this is the benefit here. Like you can of course create all these kind of crackles here and the paper texture and stuff like that, maybe by hand. Maybe the paper texture not. That's not a thing. But the look for how can I say these kind of discolorations and stuff like that, you can do that by hand. But you would use a lot of time for that. That is what I mean by that. Oh, by the way, we also have There is so much craziness here. We have film grain here, so we have different kinds and colors of film grain. That's also here, but what we also have is vignettes, different vignette styles. This is also why this works very good with the black and white pack. And I not just have black and white vignettes in here, I have these Lomo vignettes too that have discolorations in them also. And you just drag this in here. And in this case, what you do is you just hold control here. No, not control, sorry. You hold... Yeah, you hold the shift key, and then you can just adjust this to exactly the shape of your picture like that, like so. And then I think you use soft light or multiply. You can use different styles here. Let me turn off the other things because right now there's too much going on. Should we maybe keep that? No. But you can see this now has a bit of a discoloration over here. Also here on the side, beautiful discoloration from the negative film. Here in the corners too, so that's very nice. Okay, wow. There's another one here. This is more like an orange kind of style here. Let's set this. Should we go multiply? I'm not quite sure here with this picture. Like I said, try out different kind of blend modes. And this, again, you can do this on your own if you want to, but I just think it takes a lot of time to create that and figure out how to do that. Look at this, how nice that is, this kind of analog style. I think that's probably better, really, if you have, well, you can also use it like this. I thought like with a square photo, like for Instagram or stuff like that. Look at this, how very nice that looks. Pretty cool. All right, this is not a great picture for that, by the way. I should maybe export another picture from here to show you that. By the way, we still also need to do the review of the, let's take this picture here, of the photos you took. Oh man. That's too much excitement today. Too much fun. All right, let's close this here. This is already finished. Let's go here. There we go. I think this is maybe a better call. Let's take a LUT again. All right, let's see. What kind of LUTs do we have here? No. Yeah. Oh, it's the same as we had before. Should we? Let's take this one. That's okay. And then we make an overlay here, and let's just drag in several overlays at the same time, so it just can show you more. And then we also have to do the reviews. Man, I wish I could do my streams longer, but you said you don't want that. So because I would stream like 4 hours or something like that, but because there's always so much things to talk about. Let's go like this. There you go. You see, like when you set this to different settings here, like this is multiply, and this is color burn, and this is linear burn. And this is soft light. You get completely different looks. I actually think linear burn is pretty cool for this one. Look at that. Wow, I love that. Look how this fades out and how the color changes in the corners. Beautiful. Wow. Okay, pretty cool. So, oh, we wanted to look at the other vignettes too. Sorry. We have to reshape that. You see, this one is fading into gray and again has this like smoky structure here on the sides. Very awesome. The reviews. Yeah, the reviews. We have to do the reviews. Sorry. That's too much stuff. There we go. Let's set this also maybe to a linear burn. Oh, beautiful. Look at that. Look at this nice how this fades out. Ah, beautiful. Okay, let's have a look at the last one here. This one is more like really old schooly, kind of a wet plate vignette style, right? I would say this is probably more something you want to use with black and white. Let's have a look here. That actually works pretty good. And you can see here when you, for example, do color burn, it burns the color. So this looks, it changes the color itself, makes it darker. While with linear burn, it just gets darker in a nice way. And with multiply, you have this kind of gray taste to it, right? So you get really different results from that. Let's use linear burn again. You see, this is not working in that case because the vignette has this kind of organic structure, but the photo doesn't have that organic structure, and so they just bite each other a little bit. Just doesn't work. I don't feel it, you know. So let's use this one, the Lomo one. That looks pretty cool. And then also, I mean, I make too much stuff here, you know. Why is this? And this pack is like $10 or something. That's crazy. Why did I do that? Why did I invest so much time to create this humongous? This could be a $80 pack, you know, easily. That is absurd. When I look at the things that I do, sometimes it's a bit crazy. Anyways, this is now we have these kind of light leaks here, and maybe put this under the vignette like this. Look at that. Wow. Wow. And you can also put this in all kinds of directions. You can put it over here on the side. I need to find someone who's better at sales who helps me with that, because I'm more the art type, and this should be in several stores. This could also be used in different softwares. I think you can also use this. Can you use overlays in Luminar? I'm not sure if you could do that in Luminar. But you probably can use it in, for example, Affinity Photo and stuff like that. Photoshop and stuff like that. That is pretty impressive. Okay, pretty cool. You can see how much that changes. You can also resize that, so you can have the light leak completely here on the left side. Wow. And then we can do a little bit of color balance at the end. I kind of feel bad right now that I'm just asking, like, I don't know, $10 for that or something. Because I kind of sell myself at that point. This should be much more expensive. But anyways, why not? Wow, pretty cool. Anyways, okay, let's do the reviews. We have played enough. I hope I could give you some interesting insights into Affinity Photo and photography and stuff like that with this video. Whew, okay, let's also have a look at the chat. I love anamorphic light flares. Did I have some in there? I don't know. Let's make this as a last point here. Whoops, I don't wanna. No, this is the color balance. Do I have one in here? Not really. I have stuff like this in here, but I wouldn't. Is this anamorphic? I wouldn't say so. By the way, you can also use a mask with that to just use one side, for example. What do we use here? Screen. Let's use screen. Like this. We have to put this under the... Well, they are a little bit. They have a little bit of that quality, you see? So, maybe. And if you, for example, use another blend mode, maybe? No. Yeah, this could also be interesting. You can do a lot with blend modes. What does add? No, add is not good for this one. Okay, anyways. Let's go on. What is with let's go? The edited picture looks fantastic. Thank you, Monty. Oh, I should post the link again. Sorry. So this is for the analog pack, analog dreams pack. This is what I showed just now. And this one is for the black and white pack that I showed before. And I hope I could also give you some interesting inspirations on how to work with Affinity Photo to create interesting looks, even without the packs, with the color mapping, for example, gradient maps, sorry, and the curve adjustments. This is the color grading course. So now you have all the links that I've prepared for today. All right, let's do some review here for our entries for this week. I first have to find them though. Oh, I also wanted to edit my own photo for today. Well, I can do this after the stream. Okay, let me open this up here. By the way, have you seen this post? This is very, very interesting. You should check that out. in my Facebook group where I compare the highlight recovery, or, well, in that case, I just used the highlight slider and I pulled the highlight slider down. And this gives very, very different results depending if you have Affinity Photo, Photolab, or Lightroom Classic. I didn't use Luminar for that. I didn't try that. Maybe there's a different kind of setting there. And the interesting thing is that Affinity Photo, in the developer persona, but also in the photo persona, but also in the live filters, just makes the bright colors a little bit darker, but it doesn't recover any highlights, which was really surprising. In Photolab, it does a little bit recover them, so it helps you recover. Also, Photolab has a difference between highlights and midtones, which neither Lightroom nor Affinity Photo has. And also, Photolab has something that is called, what is it called? Clear View, but this is only part of the most expensive version, which is called the Elite version. There you have this kind of Clear View filter, and this recovers a lot of details from highlights. But Lightroom does a really, really good recovery of highlights. I was really surprised by that. And this is also why I said, try out different tools, have different tools that you want to use for editing, because they can help you with specific things in a very specific and very helpful way, right? By the way, I didn't try Capture One either. All right. Let's find the posts. This is from today. Let's open this up. And this is from yesterday. And this is from... When did the week start? On the 6th. Oh my God. I will select some photos from these days, not all of them, because that's just too much. Where's the other ones? There's 7th and the 6th. So we will look into some pictures. I'm not going to review all of them because it's basically, it's literally hundreds of pictures, so I can't do that. It's impossible. You see there's 37 comments here for this, and they just vanished. Okay, there we go. All right, so let's have a look here on some of the pictures. Wow, there's some cool stuff in here. Awesome. It's from the start of the week. Pretty cool. By the way, Shalap, I think you posted last time too a portrait like this. I'm not sure if this is if you're the same photographer. Maybe make them a little bit brighter, although this looks pretty cool in the way that it's dark. That is really awesome. Really cool. You can see here just like a hint where it just peeks through. That is pretty good. I really like that. Thank you very much, Shalap, for posting that. I hope I pronounced the name correctly. Let's see. Wall painting. Let's try to see something where I mean, you can see, well, this is also very nice. Wow, I like this. With the fog in the background, you have some sun here. Was it actually like this? Or did you add some parts afterwards, like the sun, for example? By the way, if the pictures are very good, I always search them also on Google. Maybe it's from Unsplash. But I don't think it is. There doesn't seem to be another picture that has exactly the same setup. So that's very impressive. Pretty cool picture. Very, very nice. And also very focused. You see? That is, it's really important. Again, here we have a picture from Deb. Oh, you have some turkeys. I think these are turkeys in the foreground. This is maybe a smartphone picture because of the quality. In this case, this is a good example of taking a photo, but you don't know where to look at. And so in this case, in this photo, you can decide... Oh, sorry, I will look at the I will look at the comments in a second. Sorry, my brain is not working again. Okay, anyways, so when you look at this picture, you don't know what it is exactly about because it doesn't focus on anything. And by focus, I don't mean the focus of the lens. I mean like concentrate, like bring out any part of the picture specifically for you to look at. So in this case, you need to decide what is it I want to photograph. It could be the landscape, it could be the birds, it could be the fence, right? So there's a lot of things. It could be the grass in the foreground. So for example, in this case, if you would move the camera lower and have the fence in the foreground a little bit blurred, and then you have the birds in the middle and the birds are sharp, it might be that you can't go too close to the fence because the birds might run away. So this might be a snapshot so you get any kind of picture of the birds. But if you have the chance, maybe try to play around a little bit, maybe sneak there, or maybe sometimes you have to stand there. For example, if you sit next to the fence and you're very still, the birds relax over time because they only really react to movement. So they might come back to you and stand really close in front of you or in a similar position. So you just need to take some time with animals. But I think this would be a nicer shot if you would be closer to the ground and then have a little bit of grass and the fence in the foreground, probably blurred, then the sharp birds in the middle, and then the grass in the background also blurred again, or the landscape in the background either blurred or you know what I mean, right? And this, by the way, in this case is also where a good lens is giving you much more ability to do that because on how you can set the aperture, right? And the aperture defines the blurriness in the background. And with a cheap lens, you have these normal consumer lenses. They go, I think, usually the minimum aperture. Let's have a look here. Actually, kit lens. Let's see kit lens. Yeah, you see this. So you have these numbers here, f3.5 to 5.6. What this tells you is that this is the lowest aperture that you can set. When you have 18 millimeters from the focal length, the minimum you can set is 3.5. You can't go lower than that. And if you zoom in to 55, the lowest you can go is 5.6 from the aperture, right? And 5.6 already is a setting where you have a lot of sharpness in the background also. So you don't get this nice soft bokeh, right? And so let's see. Bokeh. Bokeh examples. This is with the blades. Is there an... Oh, yeah, here we have an example. You see this? That is what I mean. This is actually a pretty good example here. Let's open this up separately. So you can see here, this is aperture 5. And if you look again at this, what we have here, 5.6. So this is actually a little bit more open than what you can set as a minimum with this lens here when you're zoomed into 55. On that. So you can see that you see a lot of detail here in the background. The background is blurred, but it's still very visible. It has a lot of details. This here is 2.8. You see it's a lot softer. And then here you have 1.8, and this is even softer. So this is often why when you have a portrait lens, for example, you have a 85 millimeter, this is for full frame, by the way, 85 millimeter with 1.8. But you can, for example, get a 50 millimeter 1.4 cheap for APS-C cameras. That's often very affordable. And then you have this kind of blurriness in the background, which you can use for flowers. I'm not sure if you can use it for macro, to be honest. It's more like a portrait lens, to be honest. But you can get that for cheap. Let's see here, like 50 millimeter 1.4. Is there a price here? Wait. Yeah, you see this one here? Come on, these... So this is a Nikkor, original Nikon lens, and it costs $144 for 1.4. That is pretty good. 1.4, 50 millimeters. Because these like 50 millimeters, they I don't know why it's so cheap. They just produce a lot of them. I don't know. But 50 millimeters is a really good starting point. And 50 millimeters is for APS-C. And so if you have the same lens, and this is, by the way, also what I talked about before with the camera and the lens, if you have an APS-C camera, the lenses are going to be a lot cheaper than when you have a full frame camera. So if you want to have a lens like this for a full frame lens, which would be 85 millimeters, you would probably pay 1,400. So how much more is that? 10 times more? 10 times more, yes. So you can buy 10 lenses for your APS-C camera for one lens that you get for full frame with this example, not with all of the examples, but with this example specifically. Okay, anyways, so think about that, and then you can work with this kind of softness in the background, right? So that can be very useful. Think about that. All right, let's go on here, and think about how you take the photo, right? Okay. Let's have, wow, this is also very nice. Oh, there you see nice blur in the background, really cool. Nice macro photo also. Very, very good. Okay, also sharpen it a little bit. And by the way, I mean, of course, with macro photos, you often have a very small depth of field, but here you have the opposite case actually, because what you want to do is to widen the depth of field, right? Well, let me explain. How would I explain that? It's just because you have a lens that can go 1.4 doesn't mean you have to do that, because then it means you have a very small depth of field area where it's actually sharp in the picture. And now when you go up with your aperture, so you go, for example, like here, you would go like, let's say 15 or 16 or 20 or something like that. Of course, then your exposure time is going to be really long, which means you want to probably use a flash. You can, for example, use a ring flash on the top of your lens that gives even light around the subject, because if you have a lens on top of your camera, the problem with that is that you're so close with the lens to the subject that the flashlight is not reaching the subject, it's just making a shadow on the thing that you want to photograph, and the ring light just is in front of the lens, right? But when you have a lot of light, you can use a very high aperture and have a lot of depth of field in there, so you get more details on the different elements. This is, for example, good when you want to photograph with, for example, insects or flowers, stuff like that. Maybe we find an example for that too. Aperture macro examples. Let me see if we have something here. There's an example. You see, that is for example, it's not very sharp though. Oh, there we go. It's exactly what we were talking about a second ago. See, this is from my whatever, I don't know how to pronounce that, but you have seen what the page is called. So you can see here, maybe we can zoom in a little bit. This is 2.8. So this is exactly the opposite, right? When you go macro, when you go portrait, you want to have an open aperture, so you have a blurry, nice, soft bokeh in the background. If you want to have macro, you want to have a closed aperture, a high aperture, because then, as you can see here with f16, you get a lot of depth of field in here, so the focus area is just bigger. And when you go 2.8, of course, you have a very short exposure time, but you will only have a small tip of the nose of the insect sharp, and the rest is blurred, so this is not helpful. So this is not the way to go, right? Let's go back here a little bit. Is there another example maybe with bigger pictures? No, this is not a good example. It's also not a great example. I think you know what I mean, right? You can also do focus stacking, but you can only do focus stacking if the subject holds still. So if you photograph an insect, of course you can't do focus stacking because the insect is moving while you're taking the photo. I don't find any other examples here. Should I make a video about that? Is that a subject that I should do as a tutorial video? Maybe that would be interesting. This is very nice from the adjustments, from the color grading here. really cool. Also with the blur around it, I like it's more a center focus then. These are two tricks that you can use to have the attention more in the center of the picture. Is you can make a vignette for blur, and you can make a vignette for brightness, basically, right? So making the sides darker focuses the eye on the center of the picture, and making the sides blurry also focuses the attention to the center of the picture, because of course our eye understands when there's blur, it's not interesting to look at. So we are attracted to sharp and bright areas in the picture, right? So that's important to think about. What beginner budget camera would you recommend? Price around 750 euros. Like I said, first look at the lens and then the camera, anything you feel is good. But here's a thing to think about. When you buy a camera, you buy a system of lenses and gear. So first think about what kind of gear family do you want to buy into, right? Because of course, you can get lenses from all kinds of different brands for your camera, but the camera has a mount, this thing where you screw the lens onto the camera, and the Canon, a Nikon, and a Sony have different mounts on there, so you can't use a Nikon lens on a Canon camera or on a Sony camera, right? You can buy adapters, but they might not have all the features of your lens supported, so that's not a good idea. So really think about what kind of thing do you want to buy. I'm really happy with the Sony cameras, for example. That is, I switched over from Nikon to Sony, especially because Sony is much better at filming than Nikon is. I think the new cameras might be better at that, but I wasn't impressed, especially because the Nikon lenses have problems with focusing on the subject while filming. There's a lot of breathing, which means that it goes in and out of focus all the time, and it also has a very noisy focus, goes like zzz, 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 zzz. You can't use that, and if you film that, you can throw the video away just because of the focusing sound. So that's not a good idea. So look into the options that Sony has, for example. I would honestly suggest to buy a better camera and a better lens at the start, right? Because when you go over this hurdle of spending on your equipment, afterwards everything looks more affordable. Because this sounds a little bit strange. Let's have also a look at some other pictures. Wow, this is pretty cool here. How can I say that? When you have normal consumer camera gear and you look at a lens and it's nice, but it costs like $500, you're like, that's expensive. Should I buy that? It's a lot of money. I'm not saying it's not money. But once you buy a camera that costs like 1,000 or 2,000 euros, or a lens that costs $1,000, afterwards every other lens that costs $300, you're like, yeah, $300, come on, forget about it, because it just changes something in your brain where you just think a lot more, how can I say, relaxed about the prices. And I find that very, very good actually, because it often keeps you from having good gear because you think, that feels like a lot of money, right? Like for example, this lens here. Let me show you that. Sigma, I think it's 500 millimeters. No, this is 5,000. This one here, you see this lens here? In the past, I would have thought, holy crap, $1,000. I would never spend $1,000 on a lens. That is so much money. But now, because I've bought lenses that cost more than that, I feel like, hey, that's actually a pretty good price. 600 millimeters, $1,000. Wow, that is like cool. Yeah, sounds good. You know? I'm not as worried about it anymore. So this has this kind of effect. Maybe that's just me. Maybe you tick differently. But for me, buying more expensive equipment really opened my brain up to the option of spending more on good equipment, especially because seeing the quality of the pictures, the texture that there has, that the quality, the colors you get from the lens is just a lot different than what you get from a normal consumer lens, right? By the way, this is a consumer lens. It's why it's called contemporary. This is made for APS-C cameras, but still pretty. I think it's a good lens. I don't know. I've not used it yet. Anyways, What we were talking about? Oh yeah, camera. Let's talk about some pictures and then we come back to the cameras. This is pretty cool. Very nice. Very cool night shots here. By the way, you might also want to look into the ISO quality of your camera. Does it look at reviews, maybe look at test photos online, stuff like that. If you have a high ISO number, is the picture crappy or not? Because in many cases you want to have a higher ISO, for example, in this case. And then if it's really noisy, and there's two different noises. There is the brightness noise and then there is the color noise. And you have to look into both of them, if they are good or not. And if it's really bad, and they have a lot of noise in there, maybe look into another camera system that has less noise, or the noise is more acceptable. It looks nicer, even if there is a lot of noise in the picture. It still is a good looking nice noise in the picture, right? So there's a lot of different factors to look for. All right. Oh, these are also nice here. Have we looked at that last week? I think I have talked about that already. I'm not sure. Maybe I have. I just remember looking at them. And this is the same piece put together, but yeah. Wait a second. I can actually show you an example here. Can I show you an example? Oh yeah, I took this photo of the church door. Where is that? Or here from these pictures that I took. I think this is already a little bit edited. This is a night shot here. Look at that. This is a night photo. You can see there's a little bit of noise here, but when we look at the picture, this is taken with ISO 5000, and this is at night with no flash, just the street lights at ISO 5000. And I think it looks amazing for ISO 5000. And when you zoom at it and look at the complete picture, you don't even see any noise in that picture. Of course, I have adjusted it a little bit. Let's look at one that's not adjusted here. I think this is not no, this is also edited. This is not adjusted here. But still, that's pretty good. This is a little bit out of focus. This is probably why I chose the other picture. But you don't see much of the noise here. You know, other cameras, they have atrocious noise. You can't use the picture at 5000 ISO. So yeah, you have a look at that. Also, I wanted to show you another picture. 1 second. Where did I take this photo of the church door? We can also maybe look here. Let's have a look here. Is that a sharp picture? No. That's not good enough. 1 second. Well, I can't show it to you right now, what I wanted to show you, like with the details. Is this 1 by 1? No, not really. Anyways, let's go back to the reviews because we have so many pictures to look at. Oh, this is, by the way, this is the edited version of the mushroom photo that was so overexposed I showed you before. So this is edited with Photolab, and then I think the highlights have been adjusted by Lightroom. Then I did some adjustments in Photolab, and then I did some analog looks with Nik Collection at the end with this kind of soft brown light. The reason why I did that is because for example, in Lightroom, you can set nice colors, but they are too digital. They are too harsh. They have a very nice look. They have this kind of studio look, but I didn't like that. And Nik Collection has more of the analog look. And this is why I readjusted the colors with Nik Collection. So you get this kind of softer, warmer brown and softer, warmer green here in the background. This is with Color Effects Pro, I think, which is part of the Nik Collection. This is the unedited photo here. You can see with these blown out lights here. I think here I have already adjusted the highlights, by the way, just because I didn't want to have the picture look too crappy as a before picture. And this is the end version here. Anyways, and you can see, by the way, when you compare this, you can see how I redirected the light in multiple ways. So first of all, adjusting the details here in the mushroom. Then I made the right side a little bit brighter, the left side a little bit darker. So you can see I painted in a shadow here on the left side on the stem and here on the hood. That is not really part in that pronounced way on the original photo. And then also I made a vignette that is not centered in the image, it's centered on the mushroom. So you can see that this part here is darker and this part here is darker. And so you have most of the light here. And also the background elements have less contrast and the color is softer than on the mushroom. So you look at the mushroom first. So you can see when you look at this, the brown tones here, they are a little bit more desaturated and also the contrast is not as high. So this is a local adjustment here just for the mushroom head and for the mushroom stem. And you can also see that the mushroom stem and the head have more details. When you look here at the skin of the mushroom, you can see this one has less details. In here is a little bit softer, a little bit unsharp also. And this has just on the stem these additional adjustments. And this is, by the way, Nick Collection can do this really good because you can really finely select what you want to adjust in there. Whoop! All right. You liked your own picture? I did? Oh, I did. Oh, this is because I like every picture that's posted. Let's unlike this. There we go. I normally don't like my own pictures, sorry. But I go through here and usually I like all the pictures and look at them. And probably I also like my own pictures in the process. All right, anyways, this is also very nice here. You can see very nice and focused and more minimalist here, more of a concept shot, but pretty cool. Really like that. Very, very nice. And also you can see with the depth of field, maybe this has been applied afterwards digitally, I'm not sure, but you can see there's a little bit of blur over here and a little bit of blur over here, which makes you more centered here on the center part. More focused on the center part is what I want to say. Oh, cute. Very nice. Ah, so cool. I would like to do more bird photos, but there's so many things I would like to do more of. It's just not enough time. Really cool. Really like that. Sorry, we have to also look at the other pictures here. Again, this is a picture where it's not clear what do you want to photograph. What am I looking at? Like the first thing, the brightest element is down here in the back, but this is probably not what we are looking at. We are probably looking down here at the water, but we're not really seeing much of that, right? So if you want to have a picture of that little river, bring the camera closer, maybe find some nice leaves, a nice plant, some nice moss, a nice, I don't know, some things that are in the water, and have the camera close to that and have like this small detailed close to the ground shot, and then maybe the background, the forest is blurred back there, and then you have a really cool atmosphere of this little world that is happening in this little river here, right? Because right now there's just a lot of stuff going on and nothing catches the eye specifically to look at. So I know these things look really cool when you see them with your eyes, but in the camera it's just too different. The eyes just work in a very different way. By the way, I really would understand how they work different from the camera, because I want to you should try that when you go out in the tomorrow, walk around, look at an object that's a little bit different a little bit distant from you, like a car or something else in the distance, and then realize that your eyes have a view that is a little bit, I think it's a little bit wider than 180 degrees. Usually you don't realize it, but you can test this by bringing in your hands and you will see it's a bit more than 180 degrees. So actually your vision is fisheye. A very wide fisheye, but at the same time, the things in the middle of your vision are large. I have no idea how that works, because a fisheye, the things in the middle are tiny. You can't see them. You have to go really close to them to be visible with a fisheye lens. But with your eyes, you have fisheye and you have this view of basically a 50 millimeter or a 85 millimeter lens at the same time. This is, by the way, also why we have 50 millimeter for these shots, because they are closest to what we see with the eye when we look at something directly, but they are not fisheye at the same time. I don't know how that works. It's really crazy. Our eye is magical in the way it can see. Wow, pretty cool. Huh? What is that? And drops. Oh, you change the drops to look like hearts. Wow, that is creative. I thought there's some kind of crazy thing going on here. Okay, let's look. This was just one day, by the way. How long is the stream? Oh my god, we don't have enough time. Okay, we have to go through these a little bit faster. This is amazing, really cool shot. Very nice. And you see, foreground, middle ground, background always helps to make a good photo. Really cool. Thank you very much, Felipe. Yeah, again, difficult shot, but cool. I like these kind of layers and stripes in here. Maybe play around a little bit more with what kind of shots you can take here. I think there's a bit more potential in here. By the way, these wide landscapes are often also good for wider lenses, depending on how you photograph. But if you have this kind of thing, a little bit of a wide angle lens is actually pretty good. You can also look, like for example, there's a video on YouTube. Let me show you that real quick. Is it this guy here? Wait, let me see real quick. Let me turn off the sound. I think, yeah, it's this guy. It's this guy here. This video is pretty cool. You should look at that. 2 essential lenses for landscape photography. He's talking about, of course, he's talking about what he likes to photograph. So you might not agree with him 100%, but he takes really cool photos, and he shows really nice examples of this a little bit wider lens. Check that out here. I will also put it in the chat real quick. 1 second. By the way, I also want to show you another channel that is really cool. If I find that now, wait a second. I reached out to her, but she didn't answer me, sadly, because I would love to have her in my live stream and talk about photography. I don't see. There we go. This one. Her channel here. She, or he, she. I'm sorry. I think I'm not saying anything more about that topic. Anyways, look at that channel. The videos are amazing, and the topics are always good, and you learn a lot about photography and how to think about photography. Right, there we go. Wait a second. No, the name doesn't help either. Sorry, I'm so sorry. Okay, anyways. Check out that channel. It's really good. Okay. Anyways, there we go. What is this? Wow, okay. Is this, wait a second, is this a composite or is this an actual photo? Photographed through a window in a safari park. Oh, okay. Wow. That is really cool. From the editing, I would do this a little bit differently, by the way, because you can see that this sky is melting very much into the background. You can see also that you have some ambient light here on the fur. So ambient light, means that the reflective light of the green around him is the reflection. If you have a green surface, the reflective light is also green, of course, because it picks up a bit of the color. And if you sit too close to something that is also green, your surface, basically your fur, picks up the green too. So you see here, this maybe looks a little bit green here. And so if you adjust that in a way where this guy here is a bit different from the colors than the background, so maybe make the foreground maybe a soft beige tone, and then the background a darker green tone. For example, you can reduce the yellow tones here from the background. You just have a bigger distance between this animal in the foreground and then the leaves in the background, so you see the animal a bit better, right? And you can also make maybe the animal maybe a bit brighter, give it a bit more texture and a bit more contrast, and then the background, you can maybe make the background even a bit more softer than it is, and like that you can then have more focus on the animal rather than rather than it melting into the background. Again, Nick Collection has some really good tools for that. I will make a video about that next week. Yeah. Wow, pretty cool. Very nice. Again, in this you can play a little bit more with perspective. So for example, if you bring the camera lens a little bit closer to one of the flowers in the foreground, you maybe go a little bit deeper or something. But if you have something in the foreground on the side of the picture, like a flower, and then the stuff in the background, you get a lot more space in there, because right now it's nice, but it's also everything is pressed a little bit together and there's a lot going on in here. And if you have these layers a little bit in there, it just spreads it out, maybe visually, but you just feel like there's a little bit more breathing air in there because you have these different layers in there. All right, let's go on here. Oh, we have already looked at that. Oh, that's the same day again. Oh man, I mean, I need to close this. Sorry. We have already looked at that. Wow, again, very cool. Oh, I like this actually. The colors melt a little bit together, but I like how this looks actually like a old photo or like a painting a little bit. I was saying the angle is a little bit strange, but the bird is actually sitting normally on the thing. It's just like he's balancing his body out. This is why it looks like it's a little bit going to the side. Really cool. Really like that. It's in this case, it's maybe a good idea that all the colors melt together. Maybe they could even melt a little bit more together. Like this could be more like a monochrome kind of touch to the picture. We can actually try that. Let's go over here real quick. From clipboard, and then give me this kind of color here real quick. Let's take this color here and then set it to blend mode hue. So now everything basically has the similar color. Like a little bit of a vignette here. Nope. I feel like this should be a little bit different, maybe. Gradient map. Color balance. There we go. Like so. What do you think? So this is now everything has the same color. Maybe that's too much. Maybe that looks a little bit too artistic. Yeah, no. This combination with the brown and the green is actually better. I thought it would be good. I mean, it's also nice if you have this kind of monochrome. Maybe this should be a bit darker then from the green tones. The green is a little bit strange in the brighter parts. So this needs more adjustment. But yeah. But this is very cool. Very nice. Awesome. What is this? Oh, it's your computer. Okay. Also interesting photo. Wow, nice. Again, maybe a little bit of an angle to make it more dynamic, because this is kind of head on and it could be nice. It's kind of hard to see what is going on. And if you have maybe an angle from below or something that skews everything a little bit perspectively, that could make it more interesting, more dynamic than this like head on direct shot. But still pretty cool. Very nice. All right, let's go on. There we have a nice black and white photo with a border around it. Pretty cool. Nice one. Let's go. Oh, there's another photo of... well, we do have a subject here. I think this is more... this is a picture where you need more editing to just bring out the animal. Because, of course, they try to stay hidden in the surroundings, right? But you want to have them more stand out. So in this case, you would need to do more editing. Again, maybe have some more contrast, some more texture on the bird. Maybe have the eyes and the yellow on the nose a little bit more glowing. And then make the background a bit darker and a bit desaturated. And again, play around with the green values. I often find playing around with the green values, especially taking out the yellow from the green tones, makes the green just so much nicer than it could be. My inside toaster photo got really much of you into photography stuff from the inside. What? My inside toaster photo got really much of you into photography. I don't even know what you mean. You have to rephrase that. I'm sorry. I don't know what that means. But it's still, it's a cool photo. It's very nice. Yeah. All right, there we go. Forests are very hard to photograph. And what I would especially suggest to, first of all, again, the yellow. Let me show you that real quick. Let's copy this over here. So when you look at these values here, and then, for example, you take, by the way, this is, again, much easier in Lightroom, this kind of thing, to get a nice green tone, because Lightroom has set up the sliders in a way that are specifically tuned or developed for the usage of what most people photograph. Right? And of course, most people photograph landscapes, so the sliders are specifically to get the yellow out of the green. We can actually look at that for a second. 1 second. Let me show you that real quick. Actually, I can just go like this. I want to show you real quick what I mean by that, so it doesn't sound too confusing. By the way, now it's called Adobe Photoshop Lightroom Classic. Why? I don't know. This is a very complicated name. Why not just call it Lightroom Classic? I don't know why it has to be Classic anyways. Let me show you that real quick. So here, we have to wait until this loads. 1 second. I can also open this up over here. So here we have selective color, and this is a very nice tool, but it's also very complicated. Has this loaded already? Yes. So you can see here these sliders. When you look here, this is the HSL sliders. You have different colors set up, and when you look at the green, look at that. Maybe make a screenshot here so you can see that. Sketch. Snap. When you look at these sliders here, you can see that the green slider is going from a yellowish green to a blue green. And also with these other sliders here for yellow, the yellow is going to orange skin, and then green for foliage. So they thought about what is the things that are most photographed, and then let us push the colors into these directions. So that's actually very smart to have that. And so you basically only need to push these two sliders and get results, while in Affinity Photo you have to understand these different color channels here and what to do with them. So you can go into green here, but then you have to know that you have which kind of thing you have to reduce here, what you have to do here, right? So you can play around with that and see if you get a good color. Let's see. No, not like this. And then let's go to yellows here and then reduce the yellow. Yeah, this is better. What else do we need to do here? Greens, magentas, whites. This should basically be it, but it's still not. It's really difficult to get a nice green in Affinity Photo. This is why I always say have different kind of software tools to adjust that. And of course, you also want to adjust it for different areas differently. So this is more for the foliage, but if you see that on the bark here, you want to have, of course, more orange, more yellow, because yeah, okay. It's so difficult in Affinity Photo, but it's already a bit nicer, as you can see here. This is already nicer by adjusting and reducing the yellows from the picture. It has more of this kind of forest look that we see with our eyes compared to what the camera is photographing, right? We can actually, let me see here. Let me save this real quick. Let me put this in here. And then I will open up this over here. One moment. Okay, so now we have it in here. And you can see if I have these two sliders here for the colors, if I adjust this, you can see that this is specifically addressing these areas, right? It's rather intense. 1 second. We have another one down here, by the way, calibration. There we go. And then you can also make the saturation more or less. There we go. So you can see with these two sliders, you want to do more adjustments than that, but you can see with these two sliders, it's very easy to separate these tones out. And what this also does is that you can see here at the same time, the green tones look different and nicer, but also the bark looks different and nicer. It doesn't have this kind of green tone over it. Let's compare this to what I've created in wow. That looks terrible in comparison. Wow. Okay. Yeah. So much for that. Wait. There we go. It's just a lot more difficult in Affinity Photo. So this is like sometimes different software. By the way, if you don't want to shelf out the money for Lightroom, Luminar is very similar now to Lightroom. We can actually have a look at that. No, sorry, Luminar AI. There we go, Luminar AI. Made a photo of the inside of my toaster on day 3 and 4. After that, some community members joined the idea photographing stuff with an inside view. Really? Oh, okay, I have to look at that. Oh wow, this takes a bit of time to start. What's going on here? Remind me later. I don't want to have that right now. Oh, there they make some advertisement here. I haven't used this in some time, to be honest. Let's add. This is the nice thing here is you can add individual images. I really enjoy that because often you just want to adjust one photo. And then, by the way, the good thing also is it suggests these presets for you that might be helpful for the picture. Whoops. And also suggests a store to you, of course. So see, for this photo, and this is depending on what you load, this loads something differently here. But I want to go to edit right now directly. Oh God, I haven't used this in a long time. Creative, portrait, professional, color harmony. This is color contrast, warmth, color balance. No, where is that? Super contrast optics? No. Toning? No. Mood? I actually don't know where that is, to be honest. Color? No. Well, I'm not in. Well, Lumina is probably sending me the free version of Neo to answer the question of Pavel if I intend to buy it. They are very open about that, so they are probably going to send me a free version, so I don't have to buy it. I can't tell you yet because I'm not sure what it's doing, so I can't really tell you. Oh, here, foliage enhancer. Oh my God, no, that's crap. Okay. I thought they had similar sliders because you can get similar colors. Toning, shadows, highlights. I mean, this is helping a little bit, but not really. Balance. Oh, this is split toning. That's what that is. But I can't adjust the hue for some reason. I don't know what's going on here. Sorry, I don't know where that is right now. Let's go back to the review of the photos. I can't find that right now. We can actually look at the templates here real quick. Maybe there's something good. Why is it so slow today? Ugh. Nope. Landscape. This maybe? No. No. Anyways, sorry. I just haven't used it in a long time. I have to look into that. Anyways, let's go back to the yeah, well, this is another thing of like often a dynamic perspective, a little bit of an angle gives you just a much better picture, because this is just like bloop from the top and it's like, you know, it could be more. Let's go to Unsplash real quick. Unsplash jewelry. You see, for example, like this here. That's a good idea. You have the hand a little bit on an angle. There's nice sunlight there. You don't specifically look at the rings here, but they are still like grabbing attention, so that's nice. This is too much from the top here. This is also a nice shot, but you need a second person for that. Is there none of that is in an angle? Bracelets. There we go. This is from the front. Well, it's kind of nice. I mean, this is also a nice idea. Like in front of a nice dress, and then you have a fitting jewelry to that. That could be nice. There's a similar photo, but I mean, it's not really interesting, right? There's something missing here, a little bit of a story, a little bit of a connection to that, right? This is also nice. This puts it in a scene, you know, it puts it in a moment, into an emotion. You can relate to that in a certain way, so that is a lot better to have it like this, or with clothing or stuff like that. If you just present it, it's just a little bit too, like not enough. This is also a nice idea. Like, again, a little bit of a story here, hands holding. You have this kind of memory of your own kind of experience with these moments, so that gives a nice relation to what is going on, right? So think about these kind of things maybe. All right, let's go back here. What else? There's a architecture picture, very nice. Black and white, really cool. Like just from the side is okay. If you have it from the bottom up, you have a little bit more dynamic in there, but you can also photograph it like this, of course. Pretty cool. Let's go on here. What is this? It's a composite. No composites here. Just photos. Oh, this, by the way, I was super confused by that. This is one of these crystal balls lying on a screen. I was first thinking this is just a graphic effect, but this is actually a photo of a screen with this, with this crystal ball on that. So that's pretty cool. There's a nice picture, backlit flower. So always also think about the light direction. By the way, here is two things to think about. If you want to have the subject bright, for example, if you photograph a person, photograph the person with the light. So in the same direction that the light is going, your camera is pointing, so the light is shining at the person. So when a person is standing in front of a window, if the person is standing in front of the window and you take a photo against the light that is coming through the window, of course you get a silhouette of the person, which can be nice, or you get a dark person and then a blown out background. So both of that is not good. So rather what you want to do is to photograph with the light. So either stand the person next to the window and then photograph in the same direction the light is coming. So you stand basically in front of the window and photograph away from the window, or have the person standing next to the window and you photograph from the side onto the person. So the light is also, we can actually look at some. Of course, this is window. Well, this is kind of with the window, through the window, basically, same direction as the light is going. As you can see here with this photo, when it is against the light, you get more kind of a silhouette. In this case, it's nice because we have these nice highlights, so it's a little bit from the side also. So that's actually a nice effect. Here you can see the same thing, you get a silhouette, and usually the background is blown out. In this case, there's probably also a lot of adjustment involved to get the background back. Here it's blown out, as you can see. So it can be nice, but often it's not a good idea. And this is, for example, where the person is sitting next to the window, and you can have the light that's coming from the side falling onto the person. So this, you get a nice light, also with these nice highlight with the shape of the surface of the face carved out by the light. So this can be actually a really good effect. So rather do that if you take a picture like that. Here you can have a kind of a similar thing where it's photographing with the light because she's next to the light and not in front of the light, right? All right, let's go back here. And another case is, of course, in this case here where you have a object that is translucent, so the light can shine through it, and then you can highlight the texture of the structure, in this case the blossom. So you want to have the light coming from the back, but not exactly from the back, because again then the background is blown out. You want to have it from the back, but the light source not visible. So in this case, like you see here, you have a dark background, and then the subject is light because it's picking up the light that's coming from the side, and because the light is coming from the back side, it's shining through the object, and you get this nice texture here from all the folds that are making these nice little shadows on the surface, right? So this is a reason why you want to photograph against the light. Another reason is when you photograph, for example, a wave. You want to photograph against the light, for example, like, well, we can look here maybe. No, this is not against the light. Like here, for example, you see where the light is coming from the back and it shines through the waves, but I think this is not too easy to do that, and also you need a camera that's water safe to be able to do that. Or like here, you see where the light is shining from the back through the wave. That can be really cool. If you have something that's translucent, you can use the light from the back. Okay, anyways. Oh, nice. Little detail here. I would maybe crop this a little bit more so you have more focus on the bird. And also in this case, you can see you want to be a little bit lower with your camera, because then the bird would be in front of the sky and be like easy to see from the shape, because here you have the trees in the background and you can hardly see the birds. So a little bit lower. This is, by the way, a good advice always when you photograph animals or birds or anything. Try to have the camera lower to the ground so the background is rather the sky than just the ground. For example, let's see here. You see, when you photograph usually you photograph birds like this, right? Up from the top, boom, down there, and then they are just surrounded by the stuff that they are in, like the water or the meadow or whatever they are on. And that's not as interesting to look at. Rather go on kind of a similar level like here. And then, first of all, the background is a lot more distant, especially with birds, because they are small, or cats, stuff like that. So in this case, the background is different. You can have a nice bokeh. And at the same time, because when you see the background, it's mostly brighter than the ground would be, you have a nice silhouette of the animal you're photographing. So this is much better with a low shot for your camera than to be high. You can see here again This is just much nicer. Look at the nice bokeh you get around the bird compared to something like this, for example, where the background is almost as sharp as the birds. Now, this of course can also look good. Like this is a nice edit, and you have a separation of the colors with the white bird, and then it's kind of brownish sepia in the background, but still, you can see here, again, good example, same level, eye level basically with the birds, very nice creamy bokeh in the background. Okay, let's go back here to our pictures. All right, wow, what is this? Oh my God, this is one of these larvas. Wow, these are amazing. Really cool. Caterpillars is what they are called. Okay, good. By the way, we are going close to 3 hours. Oh, wow. This is amazing. The cool places you're in. I'm just sitting here in Vienna. I mean, Vienna is beautiful, but this is really amazing. Also nice. Okay, cool. Let's go on. Let's go. We have to go even faster here because there's just too much to look at. This is nice from the perspective, but there is, for some reason, someone sitting behind that. I think the person is holding that plant, and this gives a lot of... or is it? No, there's another. I thought this is a neck here, but there is some stuff in the background that's a little bit distracting from the foreground. Again, like maybe select the background, make it darker, desaturate it so you're focused more on the plants in the foreground. Wow, this is very nice. Really cool editing also. You can see here by reducing the colors. This is, I would say, kind of a black and white, but actually more with violet in these areas. Looks very, very nice. Really cool edit. Okay. Oh, this is a UV filter. This is why this looks like that. Interesting. Like, is a UV filter like an infrared filter? Maybe, I'm not quite sure, to be honest. Also very nice shot. Really cool. I can't look at all the pictures, sorry. This is, again, like I said, landscape is so hard to photograph, especially if there is nothing specifically amazing going on. Like if there would be an amazing mountain or something, that's easier, but this is just hard to photograph. You have to look at a lot of pictures. I think with these kind of landscapes, the easiest thing you can do to get a good photo and make it interesting is by having dramatic weather or dramatic light. So either have a sunrise, have a sunset, or have a storm coming in, stuff like that, where you get really cool clouds. Things like that will make this landscape a lot more interesting. This is just like difficult to photograph it like this and have it look like wow. You could maybe work with the road here where you photograph along the road and it's really a long straight road, like you have often these American pictures. They have more straight roads than we have in Europe. So that is a good look, but let's look here. Dramatic weather. Yeah, if you have something like this, it automatically looks interesting just because of the clouds, right? If you would imagine this picture but without the clouds, with just a blue sky, it would be rather boring. It's just a field in the blue sky. But now it looks interesting, right? It looks at least better. You know what I mean? So that is maybe a good way to go here. Dramatic light, morning, evening, or bad weather. Also pretty cool. I like these pattern photo structures. These are how do you say, escalators, ground escalators that you have in airports. Very nice. Spider. Wow. Very cool. Okay, sorry, I have to go a little bit quicker here. Let's see if there's something. How did you do this? Oh, I guess you're on one of these pedestrian bridges to walk over the street. Very nice also. I think this could be better in black and white though. The cat paw. Really cool. Very nice. Okay, cool. Don't post any of these composites, please. This is not part of the challenge. Only, in this case, only photos. This is also a nice idea where you photograph a screen on another device. So that could be nice. Maybe have the screen a little bit bigger so you can see what is going on the screen, because here you see a lot of the tech, but not what is actually going on. So a lot of them, for example, have a smartphone where the subject is sharp in the smartphone, and then a nice bokeh blur around the smartphone. That could be a good effect. Yeah, there's a lot of nice pictures here. Really cool edit with the black and white. I like, you can see here often this noise from the ISO that you introduce artificially afterwards. I guess it's afterwards. I'm not sure. It can add a lot of character to the picture and have this more analog look. Also like this analog edge here. Is this with Nick Collection? It might be. Okay, anyways. Oh, there's my shot. There we go. A little bit of dirt. This is Nick Collection again, as you can see from the nice soft colors. Is this a photo or a graphic? I'm not sure. This looks like a vector or a 3D graphic. It doesn't really be, especially because of the text you put in here. I'm not sure this is a photo. I can't really tell. All right. Interesting, but a bit strange. But still pretty cool. I don't know what is going on here, to be honest, with these red shapes here. But cool, interesting, very nice. All right. Yeah, it's also these kind of things are difficult to do. And that's, by the way, this is I know these moments when you go out there and you see something, it looks cool, but it's kind of hard to photograph, or you don't know what to photograph, so you try to photograph any kind of thing you find out there. A good advice is to just look for the little stories that are going on, the small moments. There could be any kind of small thing that you just, how can I say? Just walk around and look around you on the things that are happening. And sometimes you need to be at a location and take a couple of photos, and then suddenly it jumps out at you and you see something through the perspective of, for example, the screen of your camera or something, where you think, hey, that's actually not too bad. That actually looks kind of interesting. Often what I find helps is when you either again use your your phone as a viewfinder, or just use your camera and just move it around randomly and see if there is anything interesting coming up off the screen. Because often we try to plan a perspective and we overthink it, we bring too much concept into it, but the things that we get randomly, accidentally on our screen by just moving around the camera in all kinds of directions, it gives a more natural kind of composition and gives you a lot of ideas at the same time. I can actually show you an example of that. So here, and I haven't adjusted the photo yet, by the way. Let me go down here. There. I saw this and whoops. I saw this here, these two, I don't know what they are called, from the I don't know the English words for that. So they are sitting inside of each other, and I thought that's kind of cool, that looks interesting, and I took a photo like this, and it's kind of boring though. And so I took different kind of perspectives, and then I was fiddling around with my camera, and I saw these arms up here. They are connected to the machine, and I saw them on the screen like this, something like this. And I thought, hey, they look interesting on their own, actually. And so I started to take a lot of photos like this. And wow, this is blurry. This is again at night. Not at night, at evening, close to sundown. So the light you see here, this is not actually sunlight. This is from a car that's going by, actually. And so I took a lot of these photos from different perspectives with a shallow depth of field to just focus on one of these arms and then have the other ones in the background, more like graphic design elements, basically. And I think I want to edit this in black and white to carve out one of those. And it could actually be rather nice. Let's have here a preview, like, for example, here, black and white adjustment. You see, that is already not too bad, right? And this is something I would have never thought about by looking at it and trying to figure out how I can photograph that. Is more like a happy accident. Which is a really good way to think about. Look at that. There's other compositions here. And I mean, there's a lot of things here. You find you encounter new things you wouldn't have seen on your own by these accidental photos, right? Or accidental things that you see on your screen when you move the camera around. So this, I would just play around a little bit more because this is a little bit too on the nose. It's a little bit too direct, you know, the photo. So play around a little bit, I would say, right? To make it more interesting, to make it more dynamic, add something more to that. What is this? Oh, okay. There we have another bird landing. Very nice. I don't know why you I think you added this blur. Either you added the blur afterwards, or this is made with a smartphone and there is just some dirt or some fat on the from the fingers on the lens. And this gives also this kind of soft blur. It's actually a trick you can do where you put fat or Vaseline on your lens. Don't do that, by the way. You will destroy your lens, probably getting really dirty. But this is a trick on how to get this kind of soft light in your pictures. Another cool picture. How many days do we still have? That is crazy. I just can't go through all the days. That is very cool here from the mask. The mask is a little bit hidden in the background, but it's pretty cool still. We have to go faster. Wow, this is very concept-like with the reflection like that. I'm sorry. Well, actually, we'll just rush through the other pictures here. Very nice. Really like that. The God rays from the background. Always cool. I think I've never encountered a situation where I can take these photos myself. Again, this bird is really hidden here. I mean, he's hidden anyways. Maybe with color adjustments or black and white, you can work that out a little bit better. Or maybe cropping so we see the eye a little bit better. That could be an idea. Wow, very nice. Okay, very strong. You can see, like, because we have this very centered composition here, and this goes up like a pyramid, this is very stable, very strong. It's differently when you photograph it a little bit from the side, or when you set it off center, it becomes more dynamic again. And this, because it's so centered, it's a very strong, powerful expression. So you can play around with that also. Oh, nice. Again. Oh, this is, by the way, this is Trude is where the adjustment for my black and white pack comes from. You see, Rubak, that's her from the sepia tone. Really cool. Thank you very much for that. There we have a portrait. There could be some more. This is more like, okay, I took a photo because I saw that guy, he was standing there. Play around more. There's so much pictures online on Unsplash that you can take as a concept portrait. We could make an own episode about portraits because, I mean, portrait is not easy, and there is a lot of different things to look for, from the head position, the neck position, the hand position, the shoulders, or how you rotate the upper body in relation to your hips, stuff like that. And all of that has influence on how the body looks, how the body feels. For example, a classic thing you will see in a lot of portrait shots is look at this face here and look at this face here, and you will see one thing. When you look here at the side, our head is like this, you know? You see here, this is straight. It's not indented. It's actually bulged outside a little bit, right? But what you will see in a lot of portraits is that the head is turned just enough so that the eye is exactly in this little cave where the eye is sitting here from the bone structure. So this is pointing inwards towards the eye, and basically also pointing at the eye, so is kind of guiding the eye a little bit, right? So you can see this is pointing away from the eye, this bulge that we usually have here on the outside. And then the head is a little bit rotated, and you get this nice dent here, right? You will see this in a lot of portraits. This is just one of the many things that is done in portrait photography, right? I don't see any... this is the I'm not seeing many photos doing that right now, but usually you see this in a lot of photos. This is exact turn where it's just going here. Not too much, by the way. Otherwise, anyways, you get some other effects. Yeah, okay. Let's go back here. So play around with that. And portrait is a whole universe on its own. Very different. Really nice, just black and white with this triangle here in color. So that's also a nice editing way to just keep one thing in color. Again, landscape, difficult to do. Sorry. Oh, there's my shot here. This is with my smartphone, by the way. Just some glasses with a smartphone. Again, here, don't just photograph the thing that you see. Play around a little bit with the perspective. This is a tiny little set here. Interesting. This is kind of a toy set, I think. Really interesting. Okay, cool. Oh, nice. Again, against the light here. So you have here these nice highlights, edges here, and a little bit of the structure from the light coming from the back. Nice with this kind of sepia look. Really cool. Sorry, I have to rush through them. Again, difficult to do this kind of thing. This might be better in black and white, I think. When you have more structure here in these leaves down here, for example. Play around with that maybe. Or desaturated. So you have these kind of softer tones in there. So not completely black and white. Sorry that we have to rush through this. Wow. Again, as you can see here, another example. I mean, here you have a dark dog and then you have bright green in the background. So that's actually nice. This is actually a good photo. You can take it like this, but you can see that you get a lot of detail in the background because it is so close to the dog. If you go lower, the distance is going further away, getting nice bokeh. Okay, anyways. This is a good example also where if you go a little bit deeper and like as you know with the perspective, just going a tiny bit deeper will push the background back several meters or even kilometers, like really far away, just by moving your camera a bit lower, you know? So it's a small movement for you, but for the perspective, it's like a huge distance that is added to the picture. So give that a try. But of course, I understand in this kind of situation, you want to take the photo as quickly as possible. This is often why also nature photography is like takes hours just to wait there for the right moment. Really cool pictures here. This is a good example of having the sky against the bird, so from a lower perspective, and you can see how you have basically the cutout where you see every detail of the bird rather than having the bird in front of a tree in that situation, right? Well, we have so many pictures here. This is a nice example here. These pictures, for example, this is what we talked about with the lenses before. If you have a wide angle lens, by the way, you have a little bit of your finger down here on the left side. When you have a wide angle lens with this gives you a bit more of the foreground and it kind of stretches everything out and you get this super looking beach photo kind of thing. Let's go to Unsplash again and see at that. How would we call that? Beach wide angle. I mean, there you see it a little bit. Maybe like this. You see how this is stretched out, how the ground is coming really close to you down here in that area, and then it's really flat and stretched out towards the horizon. This is from what you get from a wide angle lens, maybe even a bit of a fisheye lens. And then with the fisheye lens, you correct it perspectively, so it's bending backwards again, so all the lines become straight again. And this gives just this kind of space, this kind of distance in the foreground, and makes it really amazing. This is especially good for these kind of photos. Yeah. Not for all of the landscape photos, but for this kind of stuff, it's really good. Also, often because on beaches, there is nothing to see at the horizon anyway. So if the horizon stuff is tiny in the picture, it doesn't matter because it's just water. So you don't lose much in that situation, right? There's another one. You can see how much this stretches towards the picture. I'm not sure if this is a wide angle lens, to be honest. All right, anyways. Let's go on here. Yeah, interesting portrait. Again, portrait is difficult to do, and I'm not very trained in portraits anyway, so I can't really tell you too much about that. I would rather just say compare to photos on Unsplash. Wow, that's very interesting. Is this the original light or did you add the orange over here? Oh, there's the original photo. Ah, okay. So you did a lot of orange here. Interesting. Well, why not? Yeah, it's nice. Also, you brightened up the foreground, put some more contrast here so we see more details of the foliage here in the foreground of the forest. That's pretty cool. Very nice. Ooh, some soft beach with some fog in here. Is there a person standing in the water, or is that just like a tree or something? I'm not sure. Okay. Sorry that we have to rush so much to the pictures. Nice photo, you can leave it like that. Often when you photograph your plate, a bit more angle is better. When you have when you bring the camera close and low to it with a light wide angle shot, like for example smartphones are really good at that, closer to the food, and you get a very dynamic shot, and that the food also looks really cool with that. You also, but in that case you have to look a little bit either if the background is interesting, if you want to include the background, or if not, use an angle where you see more of the table. Also, if you want to photograph your own food often at home, what you want to think about is the things you place around that. For example, the color of the what is it called? The paper tissue or whatever, or the fabric tissue that you have here, stuff like that. So when you look at food on Unsplash, you can see that they often make interesting combinations, like here, for example, with the stuff they put around, and try to have a nice color balance between the food and the things that are around the food. So there is a little bit more of a harmony between that. So they often make these setups. They have some nice, interesting cutlery and some nice plates in there. And you can see here also how you have this very colorful food, and then the background has this kind of gray in here, a little bit of this kind of whiskey tone. And these colors here, they are rather muted and darker, and then this is more colorful. So you look at that, you don't look at that, right? So you can see that the brightest part of the picture is actually, the brightest and most contrasting picture is actually this part where the food is. And then these parts here, they are muted and a little bit darker and a little bit more low contrast compared to this. So this is how you can make the plates stand out more also. So think about that, what you want to do with that. I'm not sure if I see a shot here that has this kind of low angle. I mean, there is a little bit like maybe here, but that's not a good photo. Maybe here a little bit. You see when you come closer to that, like so, from the side, and you get this nice shot. This kind of makes the food look interesting from the side. Anyways, let's go back here. Okay, play around with that. Again, portrait shot. I'm not sure how much I can say about portraits. In this case, again, I would maybe say move the camera a little bit more to the side so the background moves further away and you have more bokeh in the background, because you can see here there's a lot of detail in this thing here, and it really distracts from the model in that case. And so if you would photograph it more from the side and she turns more to you, that would be probably a better shot than with all these kind of details back here. Also, you can go afterwards make this darker, make it more blurred in the background, so you don't have these details distracting from her. Also, when you have a little bit more time for the photo shooting, try to select the outfit beforehand and make it maybe fit the location that you're photographing at. So it harmonizes with it and they complement each other rather than be in conflict with each other. Like I feel in this case, the stuff that she's wearing is not really fitting with this really harsh red background here. You actually, the eye is drawn more to the background than to her because it has a more aggressive color. I also feel a little bit that the color combination that she's wearing is not really a good combination in that sense, because she has like just 3 completely different colors on her clothing. As you can see, I'm a super fashion guy. I know so much about fashion. I have no idea about fashion. I'm just saying from a photographic point of view, not from a fashion point of view, that you have the beige tone, you have a different like pink tone, and then you have a different green tone, and then also you have bright like pink, red lipstick that is again different from all of the colors in her clothing. Bit too much variation, I feel like. Everything is too different here, I feel. Also, she's gripping her jacket very hard. Can you see like the knuckles are getting white here from how hard she's gripping that? So relax. have a nice soft grip on that so you don't get these extreme structures here and have the bone looking through the skin from the pressure. Okay, anyways, let's go on here. What is this? Oh, that's a dog with the ears sticking out. That's actually funny. He's moving his head so fast that the ears are sticking out. Okay, awesome. Wow, that's pretty cool. Very nice. Oh man, we are already at 3 hours. I'm so sorry. Wow, this is a cool shot. Look at that. So this is focused on one flower. The rest is blurred. This is what I mean by that, right? Stay focused on the, by the way, I haven't looked on the chat for ages. I'm sorry. Architecture, animals, landscapes, and portraits are always a great motive for a picture. Yeah, but you can photograph anyway. Think about what you like to photograph the most and maybe try to develop a skill in that. Because photographing a building and photographing a person, photographing an animal are so different from the skills, also from the equipment you need, and from the way you edit that. It's actually 3 completely different things. So maybe focus on one thing where say, hey, I actually like that, or maybe 2 things. Like you can say, I like architecture and I like people as subjects for my photo. Because you can also do, like, of course, macro photography. You can do animals with a tele lens and stuff like that. But you will see that it's really hard to be good in all of them. So maybe try to become good at one of them. Okay, let's go on here. Wow. Okay, awesome with the dogs. Interesting. I'm not sure what to say with this. This is more like a photo of I want to show you something nice from my private life. This is the difference between a lot of photos we do today, which are like more staged photos and try to be cool in a certain way. And this is the classic, I want to show you something cool that happened in my life photo, just by taking a picture, which is also okay. It's more of a classic way of photographing and a classic way of using photography, basically. But that's also cool. That's also nice. Why not? All right. What the hell is this? What? I don't know what that is. Recording my figures process. The goal is to bring out the tracings for reference. This is a video. The figures being performed. The figures being performed? Wait, let me see this in a second screen first. Oh! Oh, wow. Okay. So this is an ice skater, and this is the skating tracks on the ice. Oh, wow. I would not have expected that. Especially because of that blurry stuff in the foreground. I thought this is like a 3-dimensional structure, like spider webs or something crazy. This is scratchings on ice. Wow, that is interesting. I would have never expected that. That is pretty cool, actually. Ah, this is cute. Wow, yeah. You can also think about this is actually kind of a genre on its own, like playing around with all of these elements like soap bubbles and stuff like that inside your photography, and thinking about all the kind of different gadgets and playful things you can add to your photos and work with them. You can do so much things with that, and this is very playful and fun. So this is an own thing you can specialize in, by the way. Really cool. Very, very nice. What is this? Ah, okay. Okay, interesting. I'm not sure what to say to that, but it's pretty cool. All right. Sorry, I can't look at all the photos. Okay, wow. This is also nice. these things often work better in black and white, but this is also cool. You want to probably, in this case, bring out more the structure and the texture of the surface here. To show, because it's so much about the structure. Maybe you can go into this with dodge and burn to separate the individual how do you say, stamps from each other by, for example, making this end here bright and then the right behind that, this part from the next one darker, so there is a bit of a contrast between these, so they stand out individually a little bit better. All right, let's go to the next day. How many days do we have? We have 2 more days. Let's rush through them. There was a little bit of 9/11 postings here, and I didn't delete that because of the occasion. This is a very important day, but usually don't just post days that you have, just post photos you've taken on that day. And I hope these are your own photos and not just stuff from the internet. Anyways. All right. Wow. There's another one with perspective. Pretty cool. Really interesting. By the way, I recently started to photograph these light posts because there is so many different designs out there from these light posts, and somehow I like that. I'm not taking a good photo of them just with my smartphone, a little collection of them, but I kind of like them, especially at night when they are turned on, and I kind of like it has a kind of romantic touch to it, a light post at night. I don't know. Do you know what I mean by that? It's kind of, for some reason, has a certain amount of coziness to it. You know what I mean? So there is more of the 9/11 pictures. This is afterwards from the rebuilding event. Maybe I should have made a post about that so people can post under that for that occasion. I didn't think about that. Oh, also nice. It needs a little bit more sharpening, a little bit more contrast, I would say, to bring out the structure of the elements here, but still very nice. I should maybe make a video about creating texture in Affinity Photo. Let me write that down real quick. Actually, I can write it down on a computer, what I'm doing here. Why do I want to use a pen? 1 second. Okay, so what is Nick collection? That is one video, and the second one is creating texture in Affinity Photo, and then also forest, dodge, and burn in AP. That could be an interesting video because you can did I talk about that? You can make a lot of interesting like depth into the picture by using dodge and burn on forest photos. I think I forgot about that. I got taken away by the green values. Also cool. I feel like the camera is a little bit sideways though in this picture, but still nice. Pen is old school. Yeah, totally. Why write on paper if you have a computer that you're working on? Oh, interesting. Wow. That is not too bad. Again, this is like a landscape where not much is going on, but at the same time, this becomes interesting just because of these walking people here. Imagine this picture without the walking people. So this is, by the way, this is another thing of these kind of small stories. Sometimes you have a shot that is cool, but at the same time, not really. There's something missing. It's too empty. Wait around for something that happens in the shot. Just sit there, maybe put the camera on a tripod and take some time and wait to maybe some people walk by, a dog playing on the beach, a bicycle driving by, something that is interesting in the shot. That can really, really enrich the shot. So I think like these two tiny people here in the shot is actually really giving the character to this photo. Very, very nice. Let's go quick here. Wow, okay, interesting. Oh, there we are for the inside shots that Christoph has inspired. That's actually pretty cool. Very nice idea. And this is, by the way, this is the original shot. So you can see by cropping, another thing I want to talk about. Yes, cropping. Sometimes intentionally take a wider shot than you actually need, because when you crop and you have a wider shot, you can also rotate the crop at the same time. Because when you make a too close shot, you can crop into the picture, but there's not enough space for rotating the photo. So think about that, a little bit wider, and then you can crop this In this case, it's a square crop, but it's really cool. And it takes away all the things around that have a lot of structure and light in them that are completely unnecessary. At the same time, in this shot specifically, the light situation becomes a lot easier, because if you would think you would push the lens into that bean container, whatever, the box, I don't know how to call that. If you push the camera inside of there, of course, there's going to be shadow from your lens. So if you pull the camera back, have a wider shot, crop it afterwards, you still have this nice soft light, and you don't have to think about a complex light setup that would shine into that container while you have the lens inside of there. So it's actually a pretty good trick to do that. All right, and I think you even used some motion blur, a radial motion blur, to make this outside of the container look like another part of the inside, because you can see this is actually the rim and this is the outside here. But what he did is he made this kind of blur that makes it look like it's a reflection on a chrome or aluminum surface. So that's actually very smart. Really cool editing here. What is this? Oh, okay, interesting. I've never seen them in green. I only know them in yellow. Pretty cool. Again, this would be a shot where I would really play around with perspective, with close-ups. You have so much structure in there that you can use and make something really cool, especially because you have so many of them. You can maybe lay them out in like a form like this, you know, a little bit on different angles, and then take a shot through them in the middle or of a part of the surface. You can do some really cool stuff with that. Maybe play, if you still have them, if they are still good, play around with that. Wow, that is an impressive shot. And from the editing, it's kind of artistic in a way that it looks a little bit like a drawing. Wow, pretty impressive. Really like that. Very, very nice. Really cool. Okay, let's go on. Butterflies. Difficult, especially when you go closer to them, they fly away. But maybe I would have cropped this a little bit because there's so much attention on this part where nothing is going on, and then you hardly see the butterflies over here. Nice sunset. It's also very beautiful with the elements here in the foreground as a silhouette. That's also nice. What else can we look at? This again needs a little bit more editing to bring out the elements here and like tone down the other things. Again, as you can see, so much green things in nature have this yellow tone in it. And personally, I'm not a fan of that. I don't like that kind of yellow in there. I like green to be actually green. Maybe you have a different taste for that, but I'm a big fan of trying to remove that yellow from the green. Wow, okay, there we have a mushroom. Very nice, pretty cool. Sorry, I'm just rushing through that. What is this? I think this is again with the ice structure. It's actually a pretty cool idea. I'm not sure what this white stuff here is though. Did you rotate that and then just leave in the background or what? I'm not sure what is going on here. Oh, very nice. Very long, but also cool for black and white. You can see black and white. If you have something, by the way, this is maybe a good advice on thinking when to use black and white. If you have something that has a lot of structure in it, where you want to carve out the pattern, you want to turn it a little bit into a sculpture and have people look at rather what is going on than the impressiveness of the colors and how everything looks, black and white is a good reason for that, right? So think about if you have a lot of story in the picture, something is going on and you want people to look at what is going on, black and white is a good idea. Or if you have a lot of structure in there and you want people to look at the structure, again, black and white is a good idea. So for these two reasons, mainly, you can use black and white. Of course, you can use it for any kind of photo if you want to, but this is where black and white shines in what it can do, right? Okay, interesting picture. I'm not actually sure what to say about that. It's strange. Why is it on a black background? Why is there nothing else than just this figurine and the flowers in the background? It's a bit strange. And also because the figurine and the flowers are kind of the same color, they kind of melt into each other. So Difficult. What you could do here maybe with editing is to try to, for example, make the colors more colorful and the figurine less colorful, something like that, to give it a bit more contrast. But maybe also this is exactly the look you wanted to have. So I'm not sure what to say about that right now. Okay, let's go here. This is the last day. This is pretty cool. I think this is a picture where, for example, either more color or black and white could work great. Like more color in the sense of making it just a bit more punchy. By the way, when you go into Affinity Photo, this is a classic trick. I have already shown this in another tutorial. Have the picture on top of each other like this, and then just like a duplicate of your picture and just set it to soft light. And you can see that this automatically adjusts things to be more contrasting and more colorful. So that's a very nice, easy trick. Let's have a look at this, how this would look in black and white. So this is black and white. Let's see, bring this down a little bit. Maybe have here a little bit more structure. Yeah, so you can see when you have it in black and white, you look more at the structure, at the things that are going on. Let's also have a vignette. Like I said, I'm a huge vignette fan. I'm not a fan of the Affinity Photo vignette because it's not as soft and analog as it should be from the look of it. But you see when you have this, it looks nice. There we go. So this is where you look more at the story compared to this, because it takes the colors take away a lot of attention from what is going on. But at the same time, it could be really cool. You maybe can also make this a little bit warmer or something like that from the colors. That could also be a nice touch. Let's have a look at that. We make this a little bit warmer, for example. I don't know. You can just play around with that, but there could be different options to maybe enhance the content of the picture. There we go. Very nice though, pretty cool. Wow, long time exposure. Those are always very cool. Can do a lot of cool things. Although I'm not sure what you drew here or what you try to highlight there, because usually you have a person or something in the middle of that. Pretty cool. What is that? Oh, another spider picture. Wow, nice. Landscape again, pretty. We talked about that at the beginning. Difficult. We talked about this. We talked about this. There we have landscape, black and white. This can often help. And here you can play around a little bit more. Like, for example, making the tree a little bit darker than the background and stuff like that, just to carve it a little bit more. I made a video about how to do that with architecture photos. I don't really have a video on how to do that with landscape, but I don't have too much experience on how to do that with landscape, to be honest. Interesting picture. Okay. I feel like there's a little bit too much going on in the background. This takes this thing here, whatever it is, takes a lot of attention away from the knife in the foreground. So if you put it like this, maybe have the background just blurred, maybe just one color or something, so the focus stays really on that knife. Or if you have something in the background, have it be something that doesn't draw your attention, where you ask yourself, what is that? You see this little thing here with these hairs sticking out. This really draws my attention, and this is kind of makes me curious what that is. So I rather puzzle about this kind of element here rather than the knife. So maybe think about that. Wow, okay. Oh, that's a cute picture of that bird. Interesting, pretty cool. All right. Dog photo, which is reduced to black and white, and just the brown color is still in there. That is very nice. Pretty cool. Oh, there's a surface picture. I think this is water. I'm not sure. It has a kind of strange structure to it. Reflection of a morning sky off a flat sink roof. This is sink roof, so this is metal. I wouldn't have expected that. It looks like water. Pretty cool. Very nice. There is a portrait here. Wow, okay. This definitely looks needs some more adjustment from the colors, because as you can see, it has this kind of blue tint here. So this, you want to bring out the colors and make everything look nice and warm and cozy. And this blue light makes everything like, yeah, a little bit too cool from the colors. So play around with that. Look at some other photos online on how they have been added. What is this? Oh, this is maybe the stuff that you did, your artwork or something. My little one wants to start a shop. Ah, okay, so your kid did that and you want to try to sell it on Etsy or stuff like that. Product photography is not easy. So what I would suggest is make it intentionally, make the background intentionally worse, and by that make it look better. So if you have this, for example, buy some gravel or something like that, or buy some of these mulch things, these wood things, and then have a tray where you just put that there, and then put this in the middle and make a photo where this is sharp, like a close-up shot, and then the rest, foreground, background, has a depth of field blur in there. And because you have some gravel or some mulch or some other things, there is some stuff going on at the same time. It looks warm and nice and cozy, and it is intentionally a little bit, not messy, but you know what I mean. It has something going on. There's a little bit of story, a little bit of structure in there. That is much, much easier than when you try to take a photo with a white background or with a fabric where this is laid out and you make a nice photo. That is super hard to make a picture with a white background in there. I wouldn't suggest that. Make it messy on intention and then take a nice photo of the messy situation with the mulch, with the gravel, or with something else that you like that has a nice structure, and that is so much easier to take a picture like that, right? Also, if you have a structure like, for example, something white or a fabric like, what is it called? Velvet, to get rid of all the little hairs and dust on there, super hard. It looks, and if you have some dust in there, it just looks crappy afterwards. It looks a ton worse than if you would just have something else that is messy. Also, like rough wood, original rough wood, maybe also with the what is it called? Barch on it still? Birch? Mulch? Birch? I don't know what the word is. You know what I mean. We can see here something, ring on wood. Do we have something like that? Yeah, like for example, like this here. You can see from the wood structure, it looks nice, and you just have the ring here. That is much, much easier to photograph than when you have a... Do we have a product on white? I can't find a shot here. Ring. Yeah, if you want to photograph something like this, even this looks bad because this is hard to photograph. This is not good to photograph. The lighting is hard. To get the ground good is hard. To get the ground clean is hard. Everything about this is difficult and looks bad. And most of these other attempts looks bad too. You know, like this is like, yeah, the idea with the heart and stuff like that. No, it's not a good idea. It looks crappy. Look at that. Doesn't look good. Don't do that. Doesn't look good. This is also not really nice, right? Doesn't look interesting. And this here, on the other hand, it looks natural. It looks cozy. It tells a little bit of a story. Much, much easier to photograph. If you're not good at product photography, try to have some organic surface behind it. It's just much easier. Wow, that's a nice shot here. Pretty interesting. I like the old school frame around that. That's pretty cool, and gives it more of a story. Like these kind of vintage looking frames and editing already puts it into kind of a vintage historic kind of situation where you expect a story behind that. So that also can make a picture more interesting than just a picture. And I will leave it with this. Another shot. Like I said, difficult. There's actually people down there, so that could be nice if you be a little bit closer and make them more part of the story. Yeah, okay, that's it. Sorry, we had to rush through everything, but man, too much pictures. We had over 3 hours. Thank you for everybody who has stuck around until the end. Bark is the tree covering. Oh yeah, bark. That's true. That's true. Yes, the bark. All right. Yeah, thank you very much, everybody, for sticking around. I will post the links again. 1 second. just at the end. This is my color grading course. Take advantage of that until the offer runs out, because after that it's $70. So that's quite a lot more. Right now it's $25 for 28 videos and 140 minutes. So there's a lot of content in there. I try to cover as much as I can without making it too much and make your brain explode from all the information. Okay. Wow, that was a long stream. I hope it was interesting. We talked about a lot of really cool and interesting topics, I think. Maybe next time I should pick one topic instead of talking about 10 topics at the same time. But it was interesting. I really liked all the things we talked about. Okay. Wow, that was really awesome. And yeah, thank you very much for sticking around. Good. Okay, I would say thank you very much and see you soon. Bye. And I find the end screen? No? Where's my end screen? Oh, there we go. Okay, bye.